Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Harvey Beaks' late afternoon talk show. I'm TJ, here with our usual guests of...
Dreamcast. I'm
Uh,
Dreamcast. Yeah.
Heh.
I'm Milky. I've been on 2 episodes of this podcast before, and I'm returning for this one.
Yes.
I'm Sam. I'm from the country of that's not so distant, but it's actually distant of New Zealand, but it's actually close to PJ and this other person who's on our podcast
Yes.
today.
As Sam's about to bring up, today is a very, very special episode, and we are incredibly excited. This is an individual that I have admired for many, many years. He has been on the YouTube platform for a really long time now, has over 736,000 subscribers, has nearly 253 million views, over 300 videos, specializes all things animation, movies, what have you. It's Phantom Strider, Josh Strider. How you doing, my man?
Howdy, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to chat a bit of Harvey Beaks.
Yes. If you don't know, in Harvey Beaks' very, very brief time on the air, Strider made plenty of videos throughout its life that kind of brought a little bit of limelight. And I remember, at least for me, it was the first time that I've discovered anything about the show myself, and I'm sure plenty of others can agree with me on that, or have similar stories, I should say.
And I'd already known about it before I saw the videos, which, oh my god, that was like nearly 10 years ago. I feel really old. But yeah, when I was like bored at the start of the year, kind of like going through old YouTube videos, which I normally do, I just decided to rewatch his videos about Harvey, which he'd made, and then I realized, saw them, and then I got recommended other videos about Harvey, and then yeah, it's about a pretty long story, but now I'm here 8 months later, which I still can't believe is a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For me,
None of us can.
yeah. For me, I was like, Harvey appeared in the Nickelodeon website, and I was interested in what is that weird character with a big head was all about. One time it appeared late at night on the TV. I liked what I said, and well, it changed my life. Let's just put it that way. Changed me, and now I'm talking to perhaps the person that made me the cartoon nerd I am.
Oh, you heard him, TJ. Good on you, man.
For me, me and Dreamcast both live in the Middle East, so Harvey Beaks would like commonly air on this like Middle Eastern equivalent of Nickelodeon. And I remember like binge watching the episodes, becoming obsessed with the show, and I'd like scout YouTube to learn all about it. And then 10 years later, or 9 years later, I remembered that it existed, and I like watched a lot of videos to like sort of jog my memory on the show, including yours, Strider. And now we get to do a podcast episode together, and that genuinely makes me in awe.
It's very cool. Like it always honors me when I learn of actual people who were kind of learned of a good show or something like that, like Harvey Beaks, and to know I was a small part of, the show just got such a little fanfare that I look back now at the Wikipedia article and all that sort of thing, and like, if not for Paramount, it'd be lost media, and it was taken off. Season 2 was taken off Paramount for a time, and I was like, holy cow, like, because it's a legitimately good show. I was drawn into it. I think it was 2016, I think.
15, I think, actually.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, and like a bit like Steven Universe at the time, I was looking for shows with gentle colors, and every color in the backgrounds of Harvey Beaks has that sort of watercolor look to it, and I don't know, it has always appealed to my brain very much, and I think the passion of the creator really comes through. And particularly when I saw he was voicing one of the characters, I was like, okay, it reminds me of like the Powerpuff Girls passion, the passion behind Craig Kraken had behind that show in the first couple of seasons, that even if it's not always perfect and can be awkward, like they clearly care about what they're making and have something to say.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes.
Strider. Before that, you didn't watch much of season 2, but after we finish this, I highly, highly recommend you check out It's Christmas, You Dorks. It shows just the peak of pretty much C.H. Greenblatt in general. Like, that direction, I don't know if he directed the episode, but this shows the peak of how artistic the show is. I highly recommend checking that episode.
Yeah, for this
I
podcast,
agree. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, I tried to sort of catch up as best I could. I pretty much watched all the way through season 1, tried to catch it, because it has been about 10 years. But what kind of drew me in is I found that sense of passion always draws me into a project when people really care about a cartoon like this, and I'm just like, damn, I've got to understand what's drawn people in. And with Harvey, I can definitely see it. In that he is such a unique character. I don't think I've seen a character as heavily OCD yet also functional and having support around him. I rarely see that, in cartoons, and it's very nice to see someone who, from my understanding on the Wikipedia article, he is officially diagnosed with OCD. I don't think they ever say it in an episode, though, do they?
I don't think so, no.
No, but
Yeah, I think it's just on Greenblatt's blog, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he would constantly ask questions around that time from fans, and I think that might have popped up around the time.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
About Harvey himself, I actually really agree. I believe that what makes Harvey such a special character is that he's one of the most unique cartoon protagonists. Like, most cartoon protagonists, especially in that era, seem to be more wacky, seem to be more full of themselves, like Sanjay and Craig, Lincoln Loud, and all that. Harvey's character type, the well-mannered, clean child, he's more apparent in sidekicks like Clyde in Loud House or Jeff in Clarence.
And
so I think that
he was so unique at the time, wasn't he? I think TJ pointed this out to me, or Sam. It might have been you, Dreamcast, that around that period of time in cartoons, it was very much, I'm not going to use the term edgelord, but it was very loud, and a lot of the characters were brash and very, I'm in your face. And I think particularly on Nickelodeon, and I think that is part of what stood out about Harvey Beaks and kind of caught a lot of our attention at the time. It's like, wait, this guy isn't trying to scream for my attention. And it was just coming into that period on YouTube as well, where there was people suddenly shouting and jumping at jump scares and screaming into their microphones. And I think a lot of us just needed a break.
Oh, so true.
Harvey Beaks kind of gave that.
Harvey was it was very different from what was popular on Nickelodeon at the time. It definitely brought a very fresh and sort of welcoming vibe to the network for me.
Yeah.
It didn't demand your attention.
It wasn't just Nickelodeon that had that sort of energetic quality, because I know on Cartoon Network, obviously we mentioned Clarence, but also Teen Titans Go was starting to take off, I believe, and they obviously were quite big, bouncy, full of themselves personalities type of thing, and they might have had an equivalence to a Karma show around that time as well. I know they did later down the line with shows like Craig of the Creek, but that just proves how much of a breath of fresh air Harvey Beaks was when it came out around the 2015 time.
Definitely. I also think we already did on this podcast, we already did an episode about Harvey's neurodivergence. I just think that in a world where a lot of the neurodivergent representation, especially for autism and OCD and all those other diagnoses, has been taken to the extreme and made extremely unrealistic, Harvey Beaks provides very representation that's very realistic, because it's not in your face, it's subtle, it seeps its way through the character while still making the character still humanizing the character instead of pathologizing them, if you know what I mean.
That is 100% true. He is functional. He is still Harvey. His diagnosis is not the center of his character, which happens so often, and it has just been driving me mad the last few years. And the representation we get can be just rotten and just like, drives. I get really passionate about that, but like. With Harvey, he's just a person. He's just a guy with quirks. And the best, I think, characters who are autistic or OCD or neurodivergent is, yes, we can acknowledge they have this diagnosis and but it's a part of who they are. It is not the center of who they are. And I really did appreciate that as well, because you are right. I originally thought that Harvey was autistic potentially, but I think he's far more OCD looking at him nowadays, because you know what I notice? His eye contact is really quite good, and he's more, I would say he's potentially more generalized anxiety and OCD, because he's so caught up in his OCD and his anxiety of things going wrong and over preparing. I don't know, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate looking back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the
Now, I'm not
TV
a lot of
Tropes
like.
TV Tropes article about the show actually has Harvey have OCD and general anxiety, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, it also
Now-
has the other characters. They also neurodivergent. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of them, but like most of the main kids have some sort of neurodivergency, which is pretty interesting.
True.
Yeah, that I agree with that. Now, I don't want to like dive too deep into like neurodivergence and how a lot of like different disorders co-act together are very similar. I do want to say about the point you made, Strider, though, is that a lot of autistic people can be good at certain things that other autistic people cannot. And this is not me like pushing the headcanon that Harvey is autistic. He might not be, he might just be OCD, but there's a very high chance that he can be autistic and still have good eye contact at the same time. This is either like a difference of traits, or he's learning to mask. He's essentially masking.
This
That's
is
just
true.
my opinion on it.
This is very true. You do have a really good point there, Milkery. Particularly women on the spectrum, we found, like some people say that maybe Star from Star versus the Forces of Evil is on the spectrum. And that one I would actually agree with more, because she is, one, I believe women tend to be better at masking. From what we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years of diagnosing more women on the spectrum, but also she has some of those more quirky traits. And I guess I'm so overwhelmed with Harvey's OCD symptoms that he could well be both autistic and OCD. I myself am both autistic and OCD and generalized anxiety. But yeah, I do believe when we're at a younger age, it is harder to mask those symptoms. As we get older, particularly into our late teens, I tend to find men, particularly on the spectrum, tend to be get much better at masking, particularly if they're level 1 autism. But if I personally believe, he communicates quite well with his friends. The fact is also that while he does have a really supportive group of friends, like most of my life, I had no friends that weren't behind a computer, in terms of like, I had very rarely had friends growing up. And I guess that's just part of the fiction and part of what makes it an idealized world. But like, for an autistic kid, he has so many friends. Like, I work in support work part-time, and a lot of my clients who are on the spectrum have no friends. They don't even like to go out and meet friends. And I'm not saying that's everyone. I was always trying to have friends. But honestly, I do get where you are coming from, Milkery, because you are correct that everyone on the spectrum has a different set of symptoms and traits. And I guess for me, I'm just playing it by gut. I'm saying I see a lot more OCD than generalized. But frankly, if you see autism in him, and you have every right to, like, we don't get enough autistic representation.
It's certainly way worse there's certainly way worse autistic representation out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very scarce to like actually find like accurate autistic representation to me.
Yeah. And I can see where you're coming from there, Stride, as well, because I remember it took me a really long time to get used to like masking. Back in primary school, I pretty much had no masking. I was just what you saw was what you got type of thing. But then as I got into high school and school life started to get a bit harder for me, it kind of just, I don't want to say came naturally to me to build, because I don't think that was the case. It was just meeting my equivalents to Fee or Foo at the end of year 8 type of thing. And then all of a sudden I finally found that click, that go-to click I could go to sort of almost be safe to avoid the bullies and all that other stuff that I was having trouble with at the time. But
Oh yeah.
also it was just a great, like, I guess, method of learning and teaching myself how to use that social mask that I still do in my work today type of thing.
For sure.
And like, sorry, you guys go ahead.
No, you go.
Dreamcast, you go.
Okay. I highly recommend if to understand a good episode to understand not only Harvey's character but also Harvey's dynamic with his friends is Harvey is missing and the Grand Motel, the two-parters. Harvey is missing is more important, but yeah, it does show how reliant Harvey's friends are on Harvey. It is a very late season 2 episode, but I highly recommend it. It's like shows how important Harvey is as a friend to pretty much everyone.
But you know, that's a really good point, is that Harvey's friends rely on him as well. And I haven't seen that episode, but even looking back on the first season, I'm like, yeah, there was loads of time where his friends were relying on him. They're like, oh, what would Harvey say? This is Harvey. And it is, I didn't have that much growing up, but I kind of wish I did, where I was like, and I think, again, that shows its great neurodivergent representation, because there is something Harvey can bring to others. They're not constantly propping him up and putting themselves to support him. And it's highlighting that someone who is neurodivergent can bring their own personal traits and good parts. There's so many good qualities to all of us who are neurodivergent. There's so many ways we succeed. And even like the Caillou autistic episode highlighted that this autistic young fellow might have had trouble with the loud noise of the bell, but he also was really good communicating with other animals and was able to remove the animal from the swing or whatever it was. And you got to show their personal strengths, and Harvey really does that well. That's a very good point.
Yeah, for sure.
We can go on. Oh, sorry.
I'm autistic to a slightly higher end of the spectrum, and when I was a kid, I feel like Harvey perfectly encapsulates the character of like kids like me who had this shift of like being very energetic, very supportive of others, very bubbly. I don't want to say like they're like shining among others, but it's good representation for like autistic kids who were able to like make friends, were able to connect with others, support others instead of being on the receiving end of the support. Because when you hear about like autistic kids, they're always portrayed in a way where it's like they're the ones receiving the support. No one really highlights the stories of autistic kids who give that support to others, give that energy to others.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right. Sorry,
no, you're good.
Oh, no, I just completely backing up Melkery. And I think that's one of the secret sources that a lot of cartoons and shows miss, is what they can bring. I guess I often get told a few years ago that, I must really like Atypical. I was like, no, personally, I don't, because whenever I saw him, it was all about the way the family has to move around, his personal challenges. It's never about what he can bring to. When I couldn't get past the first few episodes in my personal case, but I like a show like, for example, Community with Abed, where he is, they acknowledge he has a challenge, but he also brings things to them. He has personal insights that they don't notice. And I totally agree with you, Melkery.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like Harvey's kind of that one who's kind of like holding the group together, because as we talked about just before, when he leaves, it kind of, okay, it's a bit of a spoiler, but it kind of falls apart when he's not there. And also, yeah, on the subject of him being autism representation, it took me like a few days to realize after I got back into the show, like at the start of the year, it took me a few days to realize, wait, I just realized he's a lot like me. And then, yeah, I kind of just spent the next few days grieving over what had happened with, okay, that's a bit jumping ahead, but yeah, I can't believe what had happened. I just basically like every thought was like Harvey, and like I'd like sit on the bus and he would pretend he's like next to me, and yeah, it just that was pretty it was quite a big week, and I'll probably get back to this later.
Yeah, please. I'd love to hear more about it. I'm so sorry you had that experience, but in
Me
some
too.
ways, a self-aware experience, though.
For sure.
If I may ask a question, do you personally each have an episode which you really connected with Harvey on? I was kind of thinking for me, the one where he has the sleepover and he has to keep calling his dad to come pick him up over all those years. Like, that was kind of the episode that made me think he was autistic. But realistically, I connected it with it, but I probably more connected with it because I was OCD and I got huge anxiety when something was different. I would never go to camp, or I would try to get out of camp. At school, I wouldn't ever go to sleepovers, and I would struggle and sometimes had to go home. And I still hate, being in different houses. I do it, but my brain hates it. And yeah, I'm curious if you guys each had an episode that really you connected with.
Yeah. I'd sort of connected that one as well. Like, I remember back in school camp, I would have my own cabin, whereas all the kids would be on the tent type of thing. That's just kind of how unsettled I was to those kind of conditions. But one that kind of connects to me more, which I mentioned in my video, is Alone, where Harvey's just wants to hang out with everybody for the day, but ends up not being able to, because I don't want to say I'm an extrovert, because I'm not. I'm kind of like that in-between type of thing. So, like, I do get overwhelmed if there's been too much social interaction, but if there's not been enough, then I just feel really sad type of thing. And I feel like that episode in particular sort of just explores the idea of what can you do in this time where it's just you, there's no one around, what can you do with that time type of thing.
That's a really good point. I remember you mentioning that episode, and it's something that I think is really not highlighted in a lot of autistic representation or neurodivergent representation. They tend to go with people who say, we don't need attention. For some reason, we just want to be alone all the time. But even if we struggle with being with others and need our alone time and solitude, I still get lonely. I've always gotten lonely. And I think most people do who are on the spectrum. There are some who don't. And Harvey there is just having a day where he's like, okay, what can I do by myself? And that's really valuable because 99% of the time we are alone, and that's okay. It's why it's so important to like yourself, because you keep your own company 99% of the time. If we do truly die alone, which I personally believe we do, and I think that's okay if you like yourself, I don't know, did that get too dark or anything? I think it's just being
no,
that's fine.
You have a really good point, Strider. Your point is very solid.
And I think it goes back to making this connection to a video you made back on your second channel about your favorite songs, and just how much of a breath of fresh air it was to see, like, what was it, Jason Derulo riding solo type thing, which is about like enjoying yourself and your own company type of thing.
Damn, that takes me back. I do love that song. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate remembering that. That is awesome.
Yes. Key the power of the autistic brain, picking up the information, pick up all of Strider's back catalogue and keep all the information about the financial situations away. Won't need it until it's already too late.
I mean, that's what I do with cartoons. You pick it up. I still remember like shows I saw from when I was like 6 or 5, and I'll be like, "Oh, do you remember when we saw this?" And my brother's like, "What? No, I don't remember that." Oh, you remember the Funny Bones song?
I think this is a common thing for like a lot of like neurodivergent people, is that they have hyper like long-term memory, including myself. I remember a lot of like super particular scenes and episodes from shows that I watched when I was like 5 or 6. So I agree. I relate to you on that, Strider.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Like,
you know what?
I still remember
sorry, you go ahead, Sam. I apologize.
Okay. No, that's all good. Still remember like exactly how I found your channel, Strider. Like, I remember like I saw like some YouTuber like see that you like your video on worst Nick shows, and then I clicked on it, and nearly 10 years ago, and now we're here.
Yeah, it's funny how things turn out, isn't it?
Actually, now that I remember, you might be one of the few. So I learned or acquired English through mostly from consuming media in English when I was really young. I think your channel might be one of the ones that helped me do that. So
Wow, that's an
thanks a
honor.
lot for that too.
Oh, it's my privilege.
Really
Well,
awesome.
the thing I was going to say actually, which I was thinking is like, do you ever find emotionally you can connect more and emotionally, like, say, cry, for example? I recently had a funeral last year, for example, a couple of deaths in the last few years, and I couldn't cry at the funeral. But when I watched the final movie of Harry Potter and I watched the final Avengers scene when everyone comes back from the dead, I often cry. And I was thinking, I find that in Disney movies sometimes too, when it gets to a really beautiful apex moment and the music's right, I'll cry. And do you ever find that I wonder if it's because many of us are neurodivergent, that we can connect, we can express our emotions in that safe space of the movies or the cartoons, yet we can't necessarily always express our emotions in a social situation. Do you ever find that, or is that just me?
Honestly, I do. I definitely do. Cause I remember a few years ago I watched this anime back when I still wasn't too big on anime. I am now, but at the time I wasn't. And so in that anime, in the final episode, the main character died, and that genuinely got no emotion out of me. And I told my sister I didn't cry at the end of that episode, and she was like, "Are you crazy?" But then I would when I watched the Harvey Beaks finale where where Fee and Foo had to leave Little Bark, I genuinely caught myself tearing up. So you're not alone on that front, Strider.
Yeah.
I
Speaking
did the
of
exact
Milky,
same.
was that anime you're talking about Your Lie in April?
Yes, Your Line April. How'd you know?
I don't know. I just know that there's a main character. I haven't watched it yet, but I do own it. And I think I was watching another Australian YouTuber's video on it, and he kind of brought up about that as being like one of the quintessential sad scenes in media. But to go back to Strider's question, yeah, as Milky said, I'm very much the same type of thing. I don't know if I've ever been to a funeral or had that kind of big, proper sad environment so far in my life. Mental struggles, of course, are a big one for me, but other than that, the thing that often gets me to cry the most or the most easily is the first intro segment of Pixar's Finding Nemo. I don't know why, but the last
Really?
4 times I've watched that movie, I'm always crying as the opening titles come down, type of thing. It's a very interesting little contrast of how us neurodivergent people sort of handle our emotions, I suppose.
I should rewatch that movie.
You should.
For me, okay. Well, something about me, I'm not sure if I'm neurodivergent or on the spectrum because I was never diagnosed. And, well, knowledge about the spectrum in the Middle East is kind of limited, so
Yeah.
it's not like I have a way to know. But I do kind of relate to that, but mostly because in real life situations, I mostly focus on, or my brain gets focused more on getting shocked and understanding the change rather than feeling sad. While I I'm the kind of person who actually enjoys feeling sad in media, if that makes sense. Like sometimes I just go back to check scenes or sad AMVs to make myself a bit sad. I don't know, I enjoy that, but in real life IRL situations, I mostly just focus on being shocked and realizing the change and realizing how that change affects the people around me rather than feeling sad myself. But yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
For sure. I
diagnosing you here,
understand what you mean.
Dreamcast. You're level 1.
Nice one, dude.
Tell from the tone of voice.
W
the
getting
structure of the
diagnosed by
sentence.
Phantom Strider.
Yes, you get the Phantom Strival's diagnosis of approval there.
Do you ever find
Yeah.
yourself?
That's a seal I will put on my wall.
Do you ever find yourself needing a bit of solitude and kind of having your fill of social interactions and kind of getting a bit tired of people?
All the time. Okay, you go, Dreamcast. Sorry.
Oh yes, you certainly, Valkyrie.
I'm
Well,
sorry. I thought like you were asking all of us. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't
Well,
sure.
we're all
Thanks.
diagnosed.
Yep.
Well, for me, I don't hang out mostly. I prefer just staying, with myself and the things that I like. But if I hang out with the people that I enjoy hanging out with the most, I can stay for as long as possible.
Do you have a select group of friends, or generally a smaller group of friends you like to hang out with and you really connect with?
Yeah, I usually prefer having like at most currently in college, I'd say I have 5 friends. But I've noticed something. I enjoy hanging out with one specific friend rather than the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the
because
same.
he shares.
I'm the same.
Yeah, because he shares. Ironically, that friend is on the spectrum. I like hanging out with him more because we're both nerds. He's into Amiga.
Classic.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this has been lovely. I find you guys so interesting that I keep on getting off the subject. Sorry, but I really enjoy these sort of conversations, just learning about
It's
each person.
okay.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That's all good.
But I think just to kind of shift to because we could obviously go on about Harvey and the autistic tropes and how well it's represented all day, but I just want to know, Strider, how did you come across the show? Were you like regularly tuning into Nickelodeon at the time for like all the new SpongeBob and all that stuff? I want to guess.
I thought this would come up, but I feel so silly because somehow, despite it is a wonder, isn't it? Because it was kind of hard to find. Like, it wasn't really well advertised. I think someone in the community must have mentioned it to me. Yeah, that was it. I think I asked on whatever I was using at the time, Twitter back then or whatever it was called. And I think someone just said Harvey Beaks, and I was like, it was just one comment, and I was just like, oh, I got to look this up, and I was like, wow. It was, as I said, just what I needed at the time, and just it was so different from a lot of what else was being mentioned, and it was quite recent as well. I was like, oh,
Yeah. I was kind of similar to a lot of people here. I think the first time, for some reason, at one point in my life, I was really into showing these videos of my friends of like guessing the show or the movie theme by just the audio type of thing. And I just remember this one Nickelodeon one had a show I'd never heard of type of thing called Harvey Beaks. I was like, okay, I like this animation style. I like this music type of thing. And I think shortly after that, I discovered your channel, Strider, in which I think the first video I watched by you was Top 10 Worst Movies, in which you had Cat in the Hat number 3 or 4, and that is slander. That is one of the greatest comedies ever made. But besides that point, shortly after, I think I discovered the Nicktoons video and just discovered, oh yeah, he's actually got kind of neurodivergent tropes type of thing. But I think the reason why I didn't watch the show back then was probably mainly because I was a schoolboy and didn't have cable or anything like that. But also because I think this might be a problem we'll get to later in the episode, but just the way it was advertised, I think the segments like in the first episode where he's slapping his butt cheeks and all that, I was just like, and your warnings of cheese tolerance, I suppose, in the videos kind of were just like, yeah, I'm not too sure about this type of thing.
This is something we should talk about.
Nickelodeon really messed up the advertisement for the show. It's very like misleading.
But that's what was going at the time. Like, that was what was showing at the time. Like, their Sanjay and Craig was selling, Teen Titans Go was selling. So they're like, we got to show up. This is silly and, in your face. Even though I really doubt that's what Greenblatt was going for.
Oh yeah,
no, absolutely not.
Granted, Greenblatt did make Chowder, and that is kind of an in-your-face show to an extent, of course. But
that's absolutely true.
Do you guys remember the remember the Labor Day song where it's like, do the Harvey Freak, do the Harvey Freak?
Yes, I do. How was this 10 years old now?
Literally.
Oh my god. I kind of want to.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I kind of want to
cheese on that. That is like the dorkiest thing I've ever seen when he does that dance. I don't know. Are we talking about the Harvey dance? Because that was the cheesiest thing.
So adorkable.
Maybe
The
it's
one
because
who
we
goes
connect
left
with it
and
too much,
right.
being that dork on the dance floor who doesn't know what to do, and when you finally do something, it's really, really stupid. Like, I don't know. I think it takes me back to flashbacks of doing the monkey.
Oh, like the Wiggles
Still
monkey.
dance. Oh dear, do the monkey with me.
Oh no,
That's-
Johnny Bravo monkey. Fair enough. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the Wiggles one. Fair enough.
Oh, that's how
That
I
would have
died.
been, cool.
I
Oh dear.
kind of want to get back to like how I kind of discovered. So I just want to say to whoever that person on whatever social media that was, whatever it was, thank you. Because if not for you, then I don't know. We probably live in a timeline where less people know Harvey, and we may not be here. But
Yeah.
like, yeah,
For
but also
sure.
yeah, This is gonna shock a lot of people who are from the US or know that it didn't like air a lot, which I'll get. It aired. Want to guess how much it aired? How many hours it aired for
How
in
many?
total?
20 hours?
37.5, which is
Oh.
it's like less than how long I take to make a YouTube video on my own channel. Which yeah,
Oh,
it
I
takes
can
a
echo
lot of
that.
time. But yeah, I kind
It's
of
less.
I kind of came across some. I just came across it randomly. I wasn't even trying to like look for it. I just saw it one day in like July or August 2015, and it looked quite nice. And yeah, like I was wondering why I liked it so much. Like back then, 10-year-old me couldn't realize why I liked it so much, and then yeah, I discovered why like nearly a decade later. But yeah, it also wasn't like a like 2 a.m. I just came across it like at probably like midday. I don't remember the exact time, but yeah, like I did a bit of research into it, into like the scheduling, but like it like apparently it aired like daily in Australia and New Zealand. I mean, I could be wrong, but
A little.
there's like a bit of scarce information. But yeah, that's what from like looking at Internet Archive, that's what I was able to find. It aired like daily for like 2 years, it looks like, and then yeah, that's what I could find.
You know,
That reminded me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that reminded me. A few weeks ago, we actually found out that it aired recently on Nickelodeon Netherlands, and it aired on another another channel. So yeah,
I was about to
international.
mention that.
Oh my god, I forgot. How did I forget about that? But yes, it's still airing somewhere in the world.
Yeah, somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
It honestly aired quite substantially here in the Middle East. Like, I remember the last time seeing it was sometime around 2018, 2019, which is a lot later than the US stopped airing it.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the whoever runs the channels is like a little bit more leniency compared to the US, which yeah, that's not the exact reason, but yeah, I mean it wasn't this. It was the same for like other shows that like basically got banners like as soon as they began.
Indeed.
Yeah. Also, here in the Middle East, it aired on Public. It didn't air on cable. It aired on NBC3, which is like available for everybody. So I think that also helped.
Yeah,
to make it
because a lot of
possible.
kids were tuning it at the time. Because in the Middle East, not a lot of people like are bothered to buy cable TV, especially like back then in the 2010s. So a lot of us were like privileged to, watch the show on free TV that's like accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Back to Strider. Before we like go more into Harvey, shall I go with my off-topic off-topic cartoon questions?
You certainly may, my friend. I think that's a great change of pace.
Yeah. Little intermission, I suppose.
Yeah.
So the first one, I didn't watch a huge amount of Ren and Stimpy, but I did watch Ren Seeks Help. Do you still think that it's the worst episode, the worst cartoon like of all time?
Well, first off, I completely botched up that title, calling it the worst cartoons. Like, no, Josh, it's not the worst cartoons. It's the worst cartoon episode. Though I certainly could put Adult Party Cartoon as among the top three. I would say, though, I kind of enjoyed going back and reconstructing it. It wasn't very popular, but I did a video on fixing the worst cartoons of all time. And I'm very proud of that one because I did really try and deconstruct it and look at what psychologically, that it's okay that Ren went through this horrendous thing and it was shared with us. But it was the fact that the way that how it was shared with us, it was focusing in on how horrible it was, and it seemed like the writers and creators were taking pleasure in the suffering, almost on a sociopathic level, like an actual child would, rather than focusing on how we can fix it. And BoJack Horseman, I think, was a good example of that being done well, where we're discussing extremely heavy topics of long-term generational trauma, of extremely dark subjects going back 100 years in his family. But it's done so gracefully and with such respect and care and thought, unlike Ren Seeks Help, which is like watching a 9-year-old go, look at this, it's on fire. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's so amateur and childish, yet it's like a child that is probably going to end up in jail someday. So
very true, very true.
Very true.
Yeah. It's a real, if I could just say, it's a real insight into the creator, which we don't have to go into here. Honestly, we all know he's rotten to the core, but I think it's a real insight into the creator. He was kind of giving a middle finger to everyone watching and the people who gave him money to make it. And I think that's what makes it stand up as such a rotten episode. But what was happening to Ren was not something that should be shied away from. It's just how we say it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do have a friend. I don't know if he would like for me to say his name. Milky. It's our mutual friend. I think you already know who it is.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He thinks that Ren Seeks Help is actually one of the better episodes of Adult Party Cartoon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the others, I didn't focus as much on some of the others, but you look at like the bikini episode or whatever it was, and I'm just like, this is weak. And I'm just like, it's not even like, there's nothing wrong with titillation, as I've said before, but it's the fact that it's not even remotely titillating because there's nothing attractive about it. It's just making fun. It's like going, ooh, I can show naked parts because this is for adults. It's the ultimate kind of teenage edgelord Newgrounds crap I would have found 20 years ago, yet it's given an inflated budget and it's got famous cartoon characters in it. It's just, you are right though, and Stimpy's pregnant. Oh my goodness gracious, that was bad. I think I ended up including that in another list. But like, and that's the thing, is like, it kind of is correct worst cartoon of all time, if not the top 5, because all the episodes were pretty bad.
Yeah, I think I agree. It is like pretty much a middle finger to the whole cartoon industry.
Yeah. I've got another side question I'd like to ask Strider. I'm just always curious about this because I've always known you've been a big fan of like Johnny Bravo and things like that, but I'm just curious, do you think it's aged good or badly? Because I remember I first watched it when I was like 3, maybe 2 years old or something like that, and I'm just like, this was kind of pretty harmful for a kid my age to be watching type of thing in regards to the kind of things that Johnny does. It is pursue for love type of thing. I know that he gets punished for it and it's usually he's the laughing stock of it, but I still sort of have insecurities about that, so I'm just wondering how you feel about that today.
Well, if I may be honest, one, I come from a biased perspective because I grew up with the show, but I watched it at 8, or no, even younger, 7 or 6. And you know, I treat women personally with a great deal of respect. And I think what is different about it to other shows is, one, you've got episodes like The Pickup Artist where you see someone who is trying to simply use manipulative tactics to get women's attention. And he is punished for it once they realize that this is actually who he is. But I think it's an important point that Johnny Bravo is punished every single time. In some ways, I consider it quite empowering to women because every single woman he goes up to, says, no, I deserve better than this, you're a jerk, and punches him in the face. He kind of doesn't know better, though, that he is kind of socially inappropriate. He reminds me a little bit of Mr. Bean, because like he doesn't know what is socially correct. And I personally feel, I smile at it whenever I watch it. I don't personally feel it's problematic at all. I do not think you would see it in this age, because you are correct that he does a lot of things without consent, and that is obviously a problem. He assaults a great deal of women. He'll kiss them in the face or something like that, or hold them or that sort of thing, and you wouldn't see that in 2025. But I think in terms of the fact that he's punished for it, and every single time as a child I was told, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But for me, as someone who was always socially awkward, it was cathartic to see someone continually socially rejected, and each time he'll get up and say, no, I want to meet people, I want to be around people, I'll try again next time and hopefully try something else, but chances are he'll do the same stupid thing again.
Honestly?
Yeah.
If you want input from someone who is a woman,
yes,
I honestly think that, like Johnny Bravo is one of these shows where it's like not trying to romanticize the topic that it includes. It's more of like an awareness type thing where, see this guy, you shouldn't be like him. You shouldn't, do the things that he does. And there is an episode where I think Johnny Bravo gets turned into a woman for a bit and sort of like gets a taste of what he inflicts on other
that was
women.
so ahead of its time.
Yeah, right? It was very like, I think it was very revolutionary. I don't know if that's a bit of a strong word, but for a show like Johnny Bravo with that type of nature, it was revolutionary to see like such a strong message being delivered on a kids cartoon, on a show on Cartoon Network.
I see intelligent, caring people behind that show. I see, I like Seth MacFarlane personally, and the more I've gotten to know him and his animation and that sort of thing and what he does, the more I've seen someone who is aware of the problems and that sort of thing. And I do feel like women were consulted on a show like Johnny Bravo. You are absolutely, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish. There's no romanticizing of what Johnny's doing. Yeah, but I do absolutely understand. I certainly don't think less of a person who says this is problematic, because, yeah, I get it. Because the women aren't treated as objects. Each single time he tries to treat them as an object, they show, no, I'm a real person and I'm about to taser you. I'm about to throw you over there. And it's hilarious. I think that definitely, it sugars the pill that every single time this happens, it's hilarious. And as I said, I definitely have a bias to it, because I was so used to getting that social rejection and it would rip me apart. But Johnny is on his own most of the time. And he's okay, and he'll just keep trying. And I so connected with that. Someone who doesn't really get that positive feedback, but just keeps trying. He knows what he wants. He wants to not be alone, and he's going to keep trying until he gets it right. And yeah, I just respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, fair enough. This was a good question for me to ask, because sort of, I guess my parents in particular, when they look back, they're like, yeah, we kind of pretty regret having Johnny Bravo be one of his phases type of thing. And I guess I've had that struggle recently when I'm looking back, because I have watched a few episodes and still really like it. I'm just not sure how to feel about them today. But I guess with this input in mind, yeah, it'll help me see it in a better light, because I am able to see things through the light, even if it has problematic parts. Like there's an episode of Doctor Who that I really like that has a bunch of Asian stereotypes that are really problematic. But if you look at the story of that episode, I really like it type of thing. So yeah, I think it's a really good perspective change for me anyways, to be able to grasp a better judgment of how I see things as they are.
You know what's cool, though, is that our perspective does change and grow, and we think about those things. But there is a lot of shows I have looked back on in the last 20, 30 years, South Park particularly, that I have said, this is not coming from a nice place. This episode particularly has done more damage than harm. And I have never had that issue personally with Johnny Bravo, because it feels like both the men and women are having a voice in it. It's not a matter of this is a woman and this is how you're going to treat her in an object so you can get something from her. No, a person is a woman, and I think Milkarie's got a really helpful input on that as a woman herself, to say this is how you grow up with it. And I think the best way with a show like this is to ask yourself, did you see women as objects because of that show, or did you see them as real people, each one with their own feelings? And quite often they would be villains in the show, or they would be drill sergeants or something like that. Each one was a different person. And I think at the end of the day, each person is not just a man or a woman. They are a person with their own individual likes and needs and that sort of thing. And Johnny's always shown that, I think. And so, yeah, I never have any doubts re-showing that show because I still just adore it.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think it's a good point of just how powerful these women characters are, because I know that they're quite memorable in regards to their designs and the colors of the outfits they wear. Like, they've put real thought behind it. They haven't just thrown them together and be like, okay, be Johnny's bait type of thing. No, it's they've really done the extra mile type of thing. But Dreamcast, did you have any more non-Harvey questions to ask? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I do. Two, in fact. But side fact, Johnny Bravo was one of the shows that they didn't bother bringing into Middle Eastern Cartoon Network. Maybe the people. Okay, Middle Eastern Cartoon Network is pretty censory, but I think that maybe when they decided to not put that show on air, they were like, yeah, maybe kids would get the wrong idea from Johnny. So yeah, difference in perspective.
Yeah, and the middle, like Cartoon Network in the Middle East, like Dreamcast said, was very like heavily reliant on censorship. I mean, regular show didn't air here in the Middle East until 2016, a good 6 years after it debuted in the US.
Wow.
Yeah. There's other shows that they didn't bring in, like Grim and Billy and Mandy.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I always call it Grim and Mandy.
That's funny.
Oh, the story behind that show is just fascinating. Like, I didn't even realize until I read about it that, like, it was based, the creator was autistic, and they based it on, and don't worry, I won't go on too long an autism sidetrack, but like, it was just interesting because Grim, Billy, and Mandy were all meant to be sides of how he felt in his autism and his protection of himself on a day-to-day basis. And I was just like, wow, I never even saw this. Like, I just thought, Billy was stupid and Mandy was incredibly cynical. I connected the hell with so much with Mandy at the time.
Yeah, and it's interesting to make that connection, because I don't know if you've watched the movie DreamWorks made, or Captain Underpants or anything like that, but the author of those original books said that the main kid characters of George and Harold, one of them was his like extroverted ADHD side, the other was his introverted ADHD side. So yeah, it's always really fascinating when creators like
totally
that
see
kind
that,
of personal input on their characters.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I could see that particularly with Captain Underpants.
Yeah. Now, one of the two questions I had left for cartoons. Thoughts on the Star versus the Forces of Evil and Steven Universe endings. Now, I myself am not a huge fan of both series. They pulled Steven Universe out of Cartoon Network Arabia around the end of season 2, and I only watched like a couple of episodes from Star versus 1, but I always hear that those shows have awful finales, and you ranked them really high back in the day. So what do you think?
Did I? Oh yeah, I did too, didn't I? What was wrong with me? Oh my goodness.
Steven Universe was your number one modern cartoon.
Oh yeah, it was too. Oh yeah, I've literally put in the subtitle of that one like outdated opinions, just because like I regret that so much. And it's not that Steven Universe doesn't have its merits as a show. I look back on it and say, one, they botched up season 3 plus so badly in my opinion, and they botched up the message and they botched up what they were saying, and I couldn't stand the movie, and I was just like, Oh, it's funny because I was so enraptured with the show. It practically took over my channel for a couple of years as the number one, quote unquote, best modern cartoon. And oh, yeah, my opinion is really soured on that, particularly how they ended the series. I can't deny I played up a little bit and didn't so much talk about whether I liked or not the ending to Steven Universe when I did Darkest Cartoon Network endings. For one, it's not that freaking dark. Like Steven Universe, yeah, it can be. No, it can be really dark. There actually is some dark episodes, but they kind of shied away from that darkness in the final season. There's this point I looked up where there was one director, then I believe Rebecca Sugar took over, where Lars had just died. He had just died. It was one of the best freaking 3 episodes I'd seen, where it was just so dark. They were into space and they were discovering these people who were rejects, and they literally do a resurrection scene in Steven Universe. You guys don't mind this tangent, do you? It's all right?
That's fine.
No, I don't. You're good.
It's okay.
And yeah,
We're happy just to have you.
oh, my pleasure, Will. But after that, they just took such a light turn with it, where it's like, no, actually, the diamonds who were literally causing mass murder all over the universe are actually just fine. They just needed to be understood. And can't we do that with all the dictators of the world? Just say to Kim Jong-un, I'm sorry, could you not do that, please? You just need a hug. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And I guess I was going through such a dark period at the time. I was like, what the hell is this crap? And like, it was not what I needed as a 20-something. I needed real answers, real information, and moments like where they talk about acceptance commitment therapy. That's real. That's dealing with real fear. And obviously the actual problem she's going through of just making a mistake and her reflex going off isn't that big a deal, but the way she was dealing with it, that and Legend of Korra are the only times I've seen acceptance commitment therapy talked about, which literally can help people through traumatic events, war events, horrible trauma from their past. It's so real. But yeah, like I thought the ending was terrible to that one, Steven Universe. And also, what the hell happened with Fusion? Like originally Fusion was something that was done as a show of extreme love for one another with Carney and Steven. Then everyone confused. And the whole fact that fusing was such a big deal that they fused without consent or kind of with a misleading understanding between Garnet and Pearl was such a big deal. It lasted a few episodes, and that was treating it like basically sexual assault. And it was a big deal. But then suddenly everyone's fusing with everyone, and it's just like the writers went, whatever, let's just do this because the fans like it. And sorry, I went on a tangent, but it's because I loved that show so much, and there are wonderful parts to it.
How about Star?
Yeah, Star. I got to be honest, I didn't watch much of the final season, but I tried to catch up on a little bit of it for this particular podcast. Can I ask, Dreamcast, did you watch the end of Star, and what did you think of it? Or did anyone?
No, I'm embarrassed to say it, but I watched an analysis video.
Yeah. I hear a lot of feedback on people not liking Starco, which is odd because I kind of feel like the series was leading to that point the whole way. Like, I think it's something that has to be done gracefully and well. And I don't know, I was fine with it personally. It was kind of a very Disney ending, and I kind of liked seeing both the Star's world and the real world kind of colliding together. And I don't know why people hate that ending so much. Was it wasn't bombastic enough, or did they sort of say
magic genocide? Star basically ended all magic, and that ended the lives of all magical creatures. So yeah, that's what I hear. Why people hate it is that she committed genocide.
Yeah, no, and that's just perfectly fair reasoning, and that's kind of a problem you do run into, and I think in some ways it's made some cartoon morals a lot safer because we can run into problematic issues like this, where Steven Universe tries to redeem these monstrous genocidal maniacs and claims they just need a hug. And you've also got shows like Starve, where they say, okay, we're going to kill all the people with magic, and you've got to weigh that up and say, I think there's another show that kind of did this, but kind of had a bit of a cop-out, was Avatar, the Last Airbender, where he said, he literally, Aang, was it? Aang goes through every single avatar, ancient avatar, to say, what am I going to do with this dictator? He's killing people. What can I do to stop him? Every single one says, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. He cannot make that decision, though, because in our society, generally the message is that we can never kill, we become one of them, even if that death would save thousands, millions of lives, billions of dollars. It's an interesting one because no one wants to cross that line, and there isn't always a compromise. So there is certain morals that cartoons don't want to address, and Aang kind of found the cop-out where he says, okay, I can remove his powers. Now he's can't hurt anyone, which is wonderful if that's an option. But yeah, those moral conundrums really can happen, and particularly in a show aimed at maybe teenagers or even kids, it is hard to know how to cross them.
Yeah, for sure. It's they were bold to do that, and I'm glad they did. And it kind of has helped me to kind of further understand what I would like to see if there was this truly evil person type of thing. And I think I would not resort to death, and I would I feel like if they were to just die, it would just be, oh, okay, that's happened type of thing. But if they had everything taken away from them, that would feel truly satisfying to me. I'm not sure. I'm not going to go into a political tangent. Don't worry. It's just something I've decided to realize as I've gotten older type of thing.
That is a perfectly fair point. And if these dictators and horrible people could be put in jail, honestly, them answering for their crimes and having to deal with it, if you could diffuse it, if the Avatar Fire King could just be put in a jail cell and make sure that he never hurt anyone ever again, then that'd be ideal. And so I do agree with that moral conundrum. Obviously, death is never an ideal way to go, but I guess the older I've gotten, the more I've said, in the real world, we don't really get many shows reflecting that in some ways it's interesting, because I look back at Disney, and in their earlier days, I think from pretty much Rescuers Down Under, and even later than that, they would always kill off the villains. Sometimes the people who were rotten and killed other people just... Sorry, we're going in a bit of a dark place, but I think it is an interesting topic.
Don't worry about that.
And morals have changed, and not just morals, but what we're allowed to say is an acceptable moral. And it's gotten a little less... I do think we go less of the direction of just killing them off nowadays, the villains. But yeah, it is really interesting to see how that changes over the decades.
Can I say something?
Please.
I feel as if cartoons nowadays, or just shows in general, are a lot more sanitized. You don't see a lot of those topics and moral dilemmas dealt with. Even Harvey Beaks deals with one, which is am I allowed to talk about this episode? It's in Later Dingus.
Absolutely.
The So Long one?
Yeah, the Later Dingus one. Basically, Fee makes a friend. He's an old guy named Blister. And in Later Dingus, he dies, and Fee has to process the fact that he dies, because she thinks that he was pulling a prank on her at first. So she basically infiltrates his funeral and basically goes haha guys, this is all just a big joke. And then she realizes that he's really gone, genuinely dead. And we see this montage of her breaking down. And considering that this was a more recent episode, I think it was 2017, it really goes to show that the sanitization of cartoons wasn't even that long ago. It's a very new thing, but it still bothers me a little bit that it's rare nowadays to see complicated topics being talked about.
Yeah. Well, look at some of the shows out there. Some of the shows don't even make it to countries Middle East or South Africa, if they do address some of these dark topics. I remember when I did a South Africa list, and maybe South Africa is just that one exception, but some shows, if they even dare mention certain topics, don't even get aired at all. The whole series gets like, nope, you can't see this. And I don't know if that's the main cause, but I do absolutely agree with you. It can become very sanitized, and I do miss the rawness of some of the 80s and 90s cartoons that we saw. Like, Don Bluth was like for a little while, he was in a field of his own in terms of just that dark topic. And I think that's part of why, for a long time, dark cartoon episodes and the discussion of that was a really popular topic for us to talk about, because I don't know, there is something fascinating about those serious subjects and how we address them to kids,
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a reason why I kind of see more fascination in like kids' cartoons than adult cartoons, because there's more censoring there and thus more creative hurdles that people need to go over, type of thing. And I just find it fascinating seeing how they go about that type of thing, because it's just like, even as simple as like Toy Story, they just use toys as examples, but really they're talking about human beings and just our purposes in life and all that shebang-a-bang. So yeah, I just find it interesting. I still love myself some like proper dark storytelling that's can go by no rules and things like that, but it's just, there's something that's always intriguing about having to just do this in a subtle way, you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I think back on like CSI and even some Dr. House, where they've got these dark subjects and they can just say whatever they want. And I just find myself bored by them. And I'm not trying to knock CSI, and there's some really good moments in Dr. House. But I find when I see those subjects discussed in cartoons, they have to use such creative, elaborate ways to discuss them. It's not just like, this guy's dying of cancer. Oh, this guy's, got dementia or something like that. It's real ways they have to discuss it. And like, they're very elaborate at the same time.
It's a very show don't tell style, the way the cartoons go about it.
Yeah. Honestly, cartoons, kids animation is better than adult animation because there's no sex joke every 40 seconds.
Oh, so
well,
true.
That's true
Yeah,
at times, but you look at something like BoJack or some of these other more mature cartoons, which I wouldn't frickin' show BoJack to someone under maybe 13, 14. I think that would be nice to introduce them to the subjects, but like I wouldn't show that to a kid. But you are right that BoJack is probably more the exception. And yeah, no, I totally agree. In adult cartoons, when I look up adult cartoons, a lot of what I'm shown, I'm not particularly impressed by how juvenile it can be.
Yeah, like I know Archer was one that you really couldn't get a grasp of.
That one grew on me. I was way too harsh on Archer. I hadn't watched enough of it. I don't know. I still feel bad about that. But to be fair, I didn't get too many complaints on that one.
No worries. Yeah. Here's another question I'd have on a much lighter scale, but did you watch the Sonic movie trilogy? Because I remember when we were doing the Wall Walk streams, it might have been brought up a few times, but I can't remember if I ever got your opinions of them, if you did go and watch them.
I adore Sonic. I still adore Sonic. So I am more than happy to tell you, yes, I have watched all three. Is there a particular thing you want to know of what I thought about them? Or?
Or just your overall thoughts on each, because I know that the first one's okay, in my opinion. Second one really starts to feel more like a Sonic movie, and the third one is just, it means so much to me.
Yeah. Can I ask, out of curiosity, I respect that opinion. What do you think means particularly a lot to you about 3? Was it something in particular that really struck you?
Oh, great question. I think it's just, I don't know, felt like if you were to ask me as a kid, because I remember when I was 8, I really wanted to watch a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but that didn't exist yet except the OVA, and the OVA just didn't feel like an official Sonic movie to me at the time, I guess, as a kid. But anyways, yeah, I guess it's just, if you were to ask me what I wanted from a Sonic movie as a kid, that would have been it, kind of thing. Maybe not the live action aspect more so, but just all these cool effects and voice casts and big budgets and just and this might lead into another tangent about why for some reason Sonic the Hedgehog connects with us autistic people so much, but Yeah, it just felt like just something that I'd been waiting for.
I want to do a video on that at some point. On someone else did it before me, and I just don't feel there would be much interest. Like generally, my discussion of autism, particularly recently, hasn't got much interest, but it's very close to my heart. Talking about the why Sonic is so appealing to many people in the autism spectrum. And there's no case study, systematic review saying that, but it's generally a trend I've noticed. And you look at some of the Sonic fan community, honestly, so many things can be taken from the Sonic fan community and say, well, this says a lot about people on the spectrum, from their strong emotional responses, their attachment to the series, their love of Sonic and love of the characters, what they like, even some of their alone time. So much can be drawn from it. And I just think it's such a fascinating topic. But on your subject, I think personally for me, I grew up the whole time. I was born in 1989, and I basically have been watching and playing Sonic since I was 5. I remember specifically my mum coming out when I was playing Sonic 1 on the Jungle Zone. She goes, guess what day it is? And I said, I'm 6. And I jumped up and down. I've been following them that long. And the point I make with that is that the Sonic I grew up with was Jaleel White,
Yes,
and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the Sonic in the Archie comics. I don't personally think those Archie comics have aged well at all.
I read them recently. They're not the greatest, hey?
No.
I hate them. I hate them.
Yeah, but the IDW Sonic, I'm a big fan of Game Apologist. He's a friend of mine now. And I listened to the Metal Virus, the IDW Sonic through that. It is the best story I've ever heard on Sonic, and it connected with me so much. I'm just going to put a quick picture in the post here. I keep this picture on my wall, like not on my wall, but on my editor shared folder, because I look at it and that's Sonic to me. Sonic is someone who he finds the positive and does his best and is selfless for others, regardless of what's happening around him. And this IDW Sonic is pushed to his limits. The Sonic in Sonic the movie is a 13-year-old who's like, for me, it's okay if you like him, but for me, it's like, I'm sad, but I'm also lonely, and I'm sad, but I'm also ADHD. And kind of the Sonic I grew up with and the Sonic I love is not that, because I can't connect with that. And for me, the first movie was basically him playing an Alvin in the Chipmunks movie. And there's nothing technically wrong with the first movie. It's very pleasing. Like, I like the characters in it. I think they're all fun enough. Jim Carrey I think he's just doing Ace Ventura from 1994.
Pretty much, in all of them.
But whatever, we love Jim Carrey. He's autistic and he's a great guy and he's fun to watch. He's a bit much. Like, I find too much Jim Carrey sometimes. Just take it in smaller doses, because he's like us in our high energy times all the time.
I totally agree with you there. Yeah.
For Sonic 2, I definitely felt you are right. It's going more in the right direction. But I would say that I think it reminded me that what I want is not really Sonic in the real world. I don't need another Alvin and the Chipmunks. I didn't like the original Alvin and the Chipmunks. I don't need a Pop. I don't need one of those other Smurfs movies where they go into the real world. I want to see Sonic in his world. That I don't go to the cinemas to see Sonic. There was a comic called Sonic Live done by Ken Penders, the infamous Ken Penders back in the day. And I'm like, I don't really want to see Sonic in the real world. I go to it to escape. I go to it to see how he handles things in his world and what I can take from that. And when I see him just helping out a security guard / police guy who's very likable, I'm just like, it just doesn't connect with me. And plus, I guess the other thing is I grew up with Sonic Adventure, where the Sonic feels older. He feels like he's grown from a pot-belly little guy into a slim, slender runner. And I connect with that too, because I'm a marathon runner and I'm quite relatively slender as well. And he was a problem solver. He was selfless. And suddenly this Sonic I've known for 30 years at least has kind of become this little slim guy, not slim guy, a little guy who's just like, yeah, I'm hyperactive. And I'm like, I'm not hyperactive. I'm not ADHD. I'm on the spectrum. I think about every single thing I do. I can't connect with this Sonic in the slightest. But the introduction of the different characters was a really good step. Tails is fun. I love the new Tails. The old Tails we had sucked.
Agreed.
He was terrible. He was like, I want to be like you, Sonic. That was it. I love that this Tails is an inventor. And that he's way smarter than Sonic, and at times even smarter than Robotnik. He found a way to fix the metal virus, and Robotnik never did. I love that they introduced Knuckles. Knuckles has had the shaft in for many years, has been just seen as a cliche stupid guy. Here I always connected with Knuckles because he's a loner. And he is a bit socially awkward and stuff and struggles, but also gullible. And yeah, I love the way they introduced him. Sonic 3, I also really enjoyed as well. I definitely felt there was too much Jim Carrey. I was over Jim Carrey by the end. I was like, I think what happened was that they got him on for one more and just said, just go nuts and ad-lib all you want, Chief. You're Jim Carrey. Do what you want.
Yeah, and I think that's epitomized in a scene which is arguably my favorite scene in the film, where Sonic and Shadow are kind of reminiscing on there's no winners with revenge, and they finally come up and then just start up with this epic finally becoming Super Sonic and Super Shadow together with the Live and Learn playing. That was just such a hype moment and all that stuff, and I just got so excited. And then what follows it is Jim Carrey as Gerald Robotnik slapping Ivor Robotnik with his big metal hand type thing, and I'm just like, that's a pace killer. I'm sorry, but you had such a big build up there and you kind of halted it in a second there, and that kind of annoys me looking back.
That scene was so meaningful to so many people, and it just, I don't know, I love seeing how much people get jazzed about that scene, because I grew up Sonic Adventure 2 as well. Like, I was about 11 when I was playing those games religiously. Dreamcast, it was my escape in a time where I desperately needed an escape. And I could just go into that game. And, I love Live and Learn and that song. I still have it in my running album when I'm running in the mountains.
Nice.
So, yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, I totally get it, why that scene connected with so many people. And they could have done Sonic so much worse as the series has gone on and the movies have gone on. And, we may have lost the console war. I will always be a Sonic boy over Mario boy. I can't stand what Nintendo has done in terms of the anti-corporate practices,
that's so
monopolizing the industry. It's rotten to the core. I have never been copyright struck by Sega. During my charities, all my music is just from Sonic and Sega and Yakuza and all these Sega games, because they never copyright strike me. But Nintendo would copyright strike me in an instant. And anyway, I'm not trying to do an anti-Nintendo rant, but I'm just so glad our boy Sonic got such good treatment. And every time I go to the mall now, there is Sonic merchandise everywhere.
Yes.
I still have my doll sitting right by me from
SeaWorld. I've got my dolls on my shelf next to me as well.
I got this guy in 1995, and from SeaWorld that doesn't exist anymore. Like, Sonic just means that much to me, and I get a little Sonic moment, a little endorphin or dopamine jump every single time I go by and think, Sonic's in EB Games, Sonic's there, Sonic's in Kmart.
Man, you love my local area right now, Strider, because the school holidays have just hit up, and at my mall, my local mall, they're setting up a big Sonic meet and greet event, and they've got a guy in a big suit giving high fives and taking photos,
that's so cool.
And they've even got a little section of 4 TVs and PS5s connected with Sonic Superstars, I think the game is, and Sonic times Shadow Generations type of thing. It's just so awesome, and obviously I probably raised a few eyebrows to certain people by being a part of it, but it just warms my heart, man.
See, that's the problem I have now as well, is I'll see a kid with a Sonic shirt and I'll go, Sonic! And I'll have to shut up and just look the other way, because anyone is like, what the hell's wrong with you? But I love Sonic. I grew up with Sonic, and me as an adult seeing these new generations just adore Sonic, it's a little different Sonic, but it's still Sonic. As you said, he's high-fiving people there and giving that can-do attitude and just positive attitude, and it just warms my heart to see kids getting that today. They're not freaking high-fiving Mario, Who cares about Mario's story? Is Princess Peach captured again? Like, the games are better. I can't deny that. Games on Sonic's are terrible sometimes. They've been rotten more times than they've been good, but they're always different. And Sonic is what we kind of get there for, the characters. And no one gives a crap about Mario's characters. No one's like, oh, Peach, I so connected with you being captured by Bowser. Oh, I so was when you were in the Mario Kart, I was so, what am I mean there? And just like, no, Sonic won his own victory in his own way. And very long, elaborate way of saying that.
Yeah.
I raise my hand.
Yeah, sure.
I raise my hand. Now, for Sonic specifically, I grew up with Sonic X, so that version of Sonic. Most of the show, he just laid back and let Amy, Tails, and Chris carry the show. I still love that version of Sonic because even though he's silent most of the time, when he goes and does something, it means something. But the character, my current favorite Sonic character, and the character that I connected with the most is Tails. Not only is he more shy and a lot of the time needs to go through experiences of relying on himself and achieving things with himself. He's also I relate to him because I see myself a lot as I am a younger brother, and I kind of see myself in Tails, and I see my older siblings as Sonic. So I kind of connect with Tails in that manner, and that made Tails my favorite character in the Sonic franchise. Honestly, it's very beautiful writing, even though most of the time the story is like a lot more simple. It's like Sonic Adventure has one of the best stories in all of gaming, honestly. But yeah, Tails is my favorite.
Oh, yeah, like when he discovers Perfect Chaos and the true history at Lost World. Oh, damn, it's got some cinematic moments, yeah. But I totally get why you like Tails and respect Tails for that reason, because you are right. Tails is fallible, and he shows us how to overcome obstacles. Sonic, in some ways, is quite infallible most of the time. And Tails is always trying to get better and trying to improve and stand up to what was originally, he's more his own character now, but originally Sonic was his aspiration constantly. And it was, as a younger sibling, I can totally get that.
Yeah, for sure. And again, that's kind of another reason why Tails also happens to be my favorite character. I just love the backstory of that he was bullied, but just this one person he meets in his life, this one person gives him a huge confidence boost, and he just starts to believe in himself more. Because I mentioned this at the start of the episode, but when I found a guy who I'm still friends with today, he was kind of my Sonic to my Tails type of thing in regards to he boosted me to help me become the person that I am today type of thing. So yeah, that's why I connect to Tails a lot, and why, again, Sonic 2 and 3 mean a lot to me, because he's portrayed really well in that, minus the potential stalking when he's introduced in Sonic 2. But otherwise, especially, I love seeing his ingenuity. I love seeing how he helps out in actions type of thing. I just feel like that's one of the main reasons why I love that film trilogy so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Strider.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the recent resurgence of Sonic Boom on Instagram Reels, it's been kind of trending now. Well, not exactly trending, but it's common to have videos of it, funny clips of it pop on your timeline. What is your opinion on Sonic Boom reflecting now in 2025, given that the show came out 11 years ago at this point?
I think it's aged spectacularly, and I think I've always regretted giving it a hard time, because the writing and the dialogue on that show still makes me laugh. I can just, and kind of I'm at that age personally, or that stage in my life, of just me personally, where I needed just a chill show at the end of the day. I'm just I just want a chill show. And it's a show that repeatedly makes me laugh. It's part of why I like Bob's Burgers so much, is that it shows like Sonic Boom and Bob's Burgers I come back to. And also some of the writing is so real. It's just so, and it's meta enough where it's not so meta, it's constantly winking in your face. The writing on Sonic Boom and the dialogue is just really underrated. And I like the portrayal of basically every character except Knuckles. I think for me, he's the bane of that show. I
Agreed.
loved Knuckles growing up, and he's just, I'm stupid. And in some ways, I actually reckon if you could rate the show out of 10 stars, it would go from an 8.5 stars for me, 9-star in writing, to a 7-star because of Knuckles, because he's constantly going, oh, I'm stupid. Oh, yeah, I'm the hero, Knuckles, with my friends. It's so stupid. And like, we get it. He's
I definitely hated Knuckles.
But all the rest of the show, Amy's fantastic. Tails is fantastic. I really like the voice acting's really good on that show. It gets a bit of crap, and yeah, I'm partial to Jaleel White and the Sonic Adventure voice actor, Ryan Drummond, I think it is.
Yeah, Ryan Drummond.
But at the same time, they do bring their own personal take to it. So yeah, I really enjoy. And honestly, you just saying that, it kind of makes me want to rewatch the show again. But the problem is Netflix. I would rewatch it on, but half the episodes are missing, and I hate this about streaming. Is that half the freaking shows are
that's
missing?
always so frustrating.
Yeah. Honestly, Strider, okay, it's Dreamcast 2 go.
No, you go. I was gonna go into my last question about.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the last question before we get back to Harvey, I reckon, because I think poor old Sam here has just been sitting and nodding his head to most of this.
I'm very patient.
Yeah.
Sam, thank you.
I've kind of gotten a bit bored. I've kind of been scrolling Google Maps because I've got very little to add.
Sam's like, well, what? No, I'm listening. Yeah. Sonic, yeah.
I just have one last question before Dreamcast asks his. Is that I know, Strider, you mentioned in the group chat that you have a little bit of an anti-piracy stance, but honestly, I feel like it's very easy to overlook the benefits of piracy in an age where everything is gate kept by streaming services. Media is at an all-time inaccessibility state, and it's just getting harder to find shows, especially also with basically Harvey Beaks being pulled from Paramount Plus, that sort of made it unwatchable through streaming services. You had to pirate it in order to get the full experience. So I just want to know your stance on that.
Well, I do want to say that One Milkery, I 150% agree with everything you just said. But part of why I do have a quote unquote anti-piracy vent is that I watched potentially a video back in the day anyway, certainly not now, but could get 1 million views. And if I say you should go out and pirate something to other people, even if it's lost media and it's ridiculously unfair that people can't get access to it, I potentially can get in trouble. Just potentially, I could get in trouble, or someone could make my life difficult. So part of why, I don't know if I've been pro or anti-piracy, honestly, looking back. If I look back at my Nintendo video, I basically, to be as subtle as possible, put on a pirate hat and start playing You Are a Pirate and say, I just don't know how we can preserve these shows and games. I just don't know what we can do. I try to be as I don't try to be pro-piracy or anti-piracy, because I'm certainly not anti-piracy. But if I dare be pro-piracy, it's just not smart for someone who has been in the entertainment, quote-unquote entertainment industry, as a Z-grade person on the internet for 11 years. It's just not wise. But I 110% agree that a lot of these shows are becoming more and more lost media. And particularly we see that in games too. I've made a video on games and Nintendo becoming lost media because they shut down anything that isn't profitable. And there's multiple shows I've actually started backing up. I've just been going through my DVD library, backing up some shows I want to throw away because I'm trying to purge. I don't know, what is it about spring that makes us all spring clean?
Oh man, so true. My family's all over that right now. I'm just like, what's the stigma about it?
But I'm backing those up digitally, because I was like, there may come a day where this is not available anymore. And I'll actually take a look on YouTube to see if it is available, some particular thing. And I'm like, okay, it's not available, let's keep a copy. Because, and obviously I own it, so that's not an issue. But like, yeah, I totally get the issue right now with the loss of media.
Yeah, and my input on that is just, if you have the opportunity in like your country or something like that to support the creator, like do it type of thing. Because I first watched Harvey like through some services that I won't name here, but when I realized that there was a missing episode on this, I just was like, okay, maybe it is time to see if it's available in Australia. And then I saw it was on Paramount Plus, so I was like, yeah, okay, and I watched the rest of the series there. And I feel like, at least right now, in regards to Harvey Beaks, that's the only way you could really like support the creators that I like watching the show or getting their kind of how they're supposed to get revenue of it today, you know? So it's just like, you know, if you can support them, I'd say that should be your priority, of course, but if you can't, then you just have to do what you gotta do type of thing. If you're curious about something and it's your only option, then I won't encourage it, but I'll say up to you type of thing.
If Greenblatt had a donation thing where like I would donate to Wikipedia regularly because I love what they do and what they have done for decades. And if there was a something I could give a little bit of money to Greenblatt directly and say thank you for all the memories and good times you gave me and the passion you put into Harvey Beaks and all the people you've inspired, we wouldn't be talking here today if not for him creating that. Then
Absolutely.
But we're more thoughtful nowadays of how we can support our creators because money's tighter for so many people. And it's like, what do I put my money into? If I have Paramount Plus streaming, should I have Netflix streaming? If I have Netflix streaming, Disney Plus has just gone up $10, $20. Should I have Disney Plus? Should I cancel this one? Should I cancel this one? And it's just getting so ridiculous. I was talking to a friend about this actually recently. This is part of why piracy is having a resurgence, I believe, personally. And I'm not condoning piracy when I say this, but it is, I think, part of why it is happening is because money's getting tighter and suddenly we have to put our money on these monthly fees of like 5 different monthly fees when some of us can barely afford rent and groceries. And I'm just like, what do you do? People's wallets aren't getting bigger. Despite what the news might tell you. Like, I don't know. I totally get your struggle there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Wait a second.
You had one more question, I think, Dreamcast.
Okay. No, I was looking at what Sam wrote in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question. So back in the day, you seem to be more bashful of cartoons that try to be more goofy than tell a deep story. Like me and the mutual friend between me and Milky, we watched a few of your videos before the pod, and we noticed that you seem to be more to be like Fish Hook, Uncle Grandpa, a lot of these shows that are not trying to tell a story, more so trying to be like more goofy and comedic. You seem to be more bashful of those. What is your take on that?
I think my opinion on both those shows has aged horrendously badly. When I look at Uncle Grandpa particularly, I've said in a couple of commentaries, I regret putting that at number 10 because that show meant no harm. It just meant no harm. And like, it was funny. It was trying to be funny. It was just trying to give people a good laugh. It wasn't being really obnoxious the way sometimes Teen Titans Go could be. It wasn't mocking its fans. It was doing nothing wrong. And because that cartoon, that show, particular video got more views than any other, it is one of the challenges, quote unquote challenges of being on YouTube, is that what me saying I didn't like Teen Titans Go 9 years ago tends to be what people think. I did 3 videos and people like, all you do is talk about how much you hate Teen Titans Go. No, that's just what people watched. I've also talked about food and roller coasters and laws around the world and vending machines and all, but no, less people watch them. So like it is a tricky part, is that like I do absolutely believe those sort of shows, we need them. Yeah, particularly when they're not obnoxious and they don't make me want to slam my head into the wall. You know, like
definitely, it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, Dreamcast. Do you want to go?
And Sorry, if I could just quickly say there,
Yeah.
Uncle Grandpa was so different. And what I like nowadays and value more and more as I get older is novelty, particularly in the age of Disney live action remakes and all these
Oh, God,
remakes,
yeah.
sequels. It's just like, I so appreciate when we get novelty. Elio wasn't popular, and I admit it was a clumsy story, and I didn't like Elio himself. But the fact that we got a different setting, it wasn't a remake, it wasn't a sequel, and it has space. There's something about a space that many people, autistic people, are drawn to, and aliens and all this. Like, I just so miss that novelty.
I can confirm. I had a space hyperfixation when I was like 7, so I saw Elio and I really liked it.
Yeah. That's a problem. Only we saw Helio. It bombed at the theater.
Go on, Spider.
It's been years since I've seen anything Pixar related. Okay, off topic, but I got so disappointed when because like when I first saw Hoppers, I was like, oh my god, this looks like my next obsession because like it looked so beautiful. Then I found out that it's about a teenage girl or a boy that goes in like I'm just I don't like the fact that every protagonist or like most protagonists have to be a teenage girl or boy. I don't know. That's just me. What do you think, Strider?
It's an interesting topic, really. I'm trying to think in my head why that is, because you're not wrong. To be fair, there are a lot of shows out there that have like the 36-year-old or the 50, 60-year-old retired person who's coming in for one more show. And I think in cartoons, we'd probably notice that because cartoons are generally aimed, even if they are appealing to an older demographic, take Adventure Time and so many other shows, generally are aimed at a young teen to child audience, sometimes teenage, except, of course, adult cartoons. So I don't think that's across all media. We're seeing just a focus on teenagers, but I will say some of the ones that are focused on teenagers really stand out, don't they? Because they can be really annoying or pandering. I remember I saw years ago Divergent, and I was so unimpressed by it. I was just like, this is so pandering, and I hate it. And I took my kid brothers to see it, my stepbrothers, and they loved it. And I was like, oh, I hate this so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd like to hear about that movie, but you didn't mention music in your videos. Did you like avoid it or
Music?
like what do you think of it? Yeah,
It's
music.
Sia's movie about the autistic girl named Music, and it's been like flamed for having very skewed representation. If that jogs your memory.
I'm looking it up. I've got the music show with Andrew Ford on ABC. I'm guessing it's another music show.
No, the movie is called Music, and it's Sia's movie. So I guess I reckon typing Music Sia in the search bar could guarantee results.
Yeah, but about teenagers, I guess I am annoyed with every protagonist being a teenager because it's like it's just teenage angst and all of that. Like, okay, I'm okay with so much, like a lot of protagonists. Like, I'm a big fan of shonen anime, and it's hard to find a shonen anime that doesn't have a
an anime,
15,
I agree
15,
with you.
16-year-old.
I agree with you there, 110%. Now that we're talking about anime, I agree, because I was thinking cartoons, but I've actually pointed this out myself, that why is every freaking anime out there is about someone who's like it's like they're freaking allergic to anyone that's over 19, where they literally talk in some of them like someone's 19 or 18 years old, like, oh, you're an old lady now. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You look at Pokemon and like, oh, I'm 16 now, I'm thinking of retiring and letting you young people, you young 10 years, like, screw you, Pokemon, we all get older.
I feel like just in Asia, the age standard is very different. They emphasize like young culture.
I go on, Milkery. I really agree with you on where you're going with that.
Yeah, like for example, when you look at K-pop, not that I think any of you groups have like people debuting at like young ages, like 16, 17, and once someone is like 20, 23, like once someone is older, it's harder for them to like find opportunities. And I find that really reflective of like how Asia emphasizes like the 16 to 20 years old
or younger, which is quite disturbing. You're actually hitting the head on why I've been going through my anime box sets the last few days that I've had for 20 years, and I've just now dug out of the box. I got out of anime, and partly because there was that obsession with, one, I couldn't stand harem animes. I got so over harem animes. Like, how does the woman feel in this matter? Like, but also the fact that there is such an obsession with women being young and all this other stuff, and men as well, seinen as well. Like, they always the protagonist. Full Metal Alchemist, all these other shows. A lot of them are shonen. There is also seinen anime, which I occasionally saw, which was generally aimed at an older demographic, generally working 30, 40 somethings, maybe 50 somethings. But even then, I look at something like Holic, which was based on like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old. And I'm just like, it's very unusual and quite uncomfortable, I found over time, that social obsession with young. And I found there were even Japan groups of women where they would basically be tossed out of these singing groups once they turned 20 because that was considered no longer, proper enough. And I
That's
definitely.
why I mentioned earlier with like my point about K-pop. It applies also in Japan and other like neighboring Asian countries.
I raised my hand.
Please go ahead.
I did. Well, I don't know if it's about like the physical appearance of said age, but I did hear about like when I was back in my manga phase. I heard that the reason so many protagonists are set in high school or high schoolers is because the Japanese population generally, or like a lot of them, consider high school to be the peak of their lives. They're always like reminiscing about high school this, high school that. So that's why. But I'm not sure how true that is because I did hear it from a YouTube video.
Wow.
I think that's a really fair point, and I actually think that's kind of sad, but I do see that reflected sometimes when I think back on anime, that they see this high school time as they're escaping back to that time because they're not necessarily always happy in an overworked society. And I'm generalizing a lot there, but I guess that does really connect with me, and it's kind of sad because I've gotten happier as I've gotten older. I've gotten more tired at times, and my social bucket gets full quicker, and I'm kind of more mentally exhausted with the entertainment industry, and the world moves too fast for me. But at the same time, I'm happier with who I am, and I appreciate nature more. I appreciate people more and the kind things people do. And it's so sad that there's this ridiculously shallow obsession in Japan with just that time when we're 13 to 16, when we had zits and no one would ever date us and we were still socially developing ourselves. Because, I think of Full Metal Panic, where like the freaking sergeant, Sosuke, who I love, was like 15. And the lady running a nuclear submarine is like 16. And I'm just like, what is your obsession, Japan? Like, why not teach your society the world doesn't have to be miserable and can still be exciting even when you're adult? Because we generally get 70 to 100 years on this earth, probably 100 by the time we get older. Like, you want to enjoy it. There's a lot more than that 5-year gap. And I don't know. I guess this is bringing up a lot of memories of why I got out of Japanese anime. So I really do connect with your point there, Melkery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the last thing about anime, and I guess the last thing before we jump back into Harvey Beaks.
Wake up, Sam.
Yeah, that damn bluebird. Sometimes, like, okay, maybe just a reference. First of all, shout out to Inuyashiki for having a cyborg old man be the protagonist. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's a manga. I think it got an anime adaptation. But yeah, but right now I'm going through my JoJo phase, and I'm just like, why is Joseph Joestar 15 or like I think he was 19? Okay, 19. Jotaro Kujo. Why is he in high school? Like you can literally change his age to anything, and it would make sense more if it was like if he was older. But yeah, it's just yeah, make them 15 just
Isn't it?
to make more appealing to the audience, I guess, since it's a show
And
So
now.
the
weird.
problem is they don't even look like they're 15. They look
Yeah.
like they're in their late 20s.
Yeah, exactly. You look at One Piece. You look at Sonic. Sonic has been stunted growth of 16 since I was 4. I'm just no, I think he's gone up 1 year. But and like I see that guy, and I see someone who has been dealing with this crap with Robotnik, fighting these fights and meeting people and robots and cyborgs and all this other sort of stuff for 20 years. I see someone experienced at least in his 20s, and they're trying to still pull off bloody Japan. I shouldn't say bloody Japan. Japan's funny ways try to pull off that he's 16. Who are you kidding? It's like saying SpongeBob
Literally.
is still 10. No, not 10, 14. Because like you literally can't pull this because you literally show the amount of times he's been employee of month on the wall in the final movie. You can't pull that crap. He kind of made sure you couldn't do that.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
SpongeBob spells out to you verbatim that he's at least like 25 or something, if not
He's-
30.
He's about 36 at this point, but by the final movie, I think he's 48, 46.
Wow.
About that, yeah. But
Oh my god,
Yeah.
older than I thought.
But that's
Yeah.
that's what's cool about SpongeBob. He's just himself, and that's part of what. I'm sorry, I'm about to go on a rant because SpongeBob is the part of my channel. But yeah. From my understanding, based on actual evidence in the show,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So, it's also funny how specifically like more so in anime, these teenagers we never see their parents, even though like at least for me, I think when I was 15, 16, I was the most dependent on my mom or in my family.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
thing too.
It's just unrealistic.
Even in I just think another example, Sora, and that's the other thing. So often the parents are dead or they mysteriously disappeared or something. I think of, if these kids are teenagers, like One Piece, Full Metal Alchemist, Kingdom Hearts, all these different animes, and they're either dead and seem to have no post-traumatic stress disorder, whatever. And like I've met kids and people with dead parents, and it's not that simple. I've met people with trauma with alive parents who are just treat them like crap. And I'm just like, oh, it's so simplified and silly. But no, I totally.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anything else, or should we jump back into Harvey?
Harvey's missed us. He says, why aren't you guys talking about me? This is
Yes.
my
Yeah.
podcast.
It's been a while.
Poor Harvey. It's
Oh.
okay. We'll make these next few minutes
Harvey
revolve
and
all
Sam,
around
yes.
you.
So
Yeah.
bringing it back,
Oh.
I know that you've done way more rewatches of the show than I anticipated heading back into this podcast, but I just want to know, you might have answered this already when you were talking about another episode before, but I just want to know, Strider, what's your favorite episode of the show?
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to quickly look over the list
Yeah, no
of the
worries.
episodes
All good.
from season 1.
Season 1 is kind of like it sets up the show to you. I think season peak because like it's done with setting it up. It's done about setting it up and showing you who those characters are and just showing you the deeper side of them, the more sides to them. So I think I highly recommend checking back season 2 as well.
Yeah.
There've been a lot of. I think that's something I did actually want to bring up about Harvey Beaks and why it didn't. Don't think it was just advertising and why it didn't hit with a mainstream audience. And it was something I did want to get your opinion on because, like, I think the interesting thing about Harvey Beaks is in some ways it's tailored to kids, but in other ways it'll have dark jokes and dark moments or awkward moments that are tailored more to adults. And I think Harvey Beaks, personally, in my opinion, struggled to find an in-between where to say, who likes this? And I think that's part of why it's fallen into a niche audience. Do you think that's too hard on Harvey, or how would you feel about that?
I think it's probably a little bit harsh, but I mean, at the same time, it just wasn't promoted or like showing at proper times.
But it showed a lot on in your countries. You were mentioning in the Middle East, but no, there was no big merchandise made of it. I do feel there's more to it than just. I love the show. I'm not trying to argue that, but I am sort of trying to say we connect with it and we love it and we see the beauty of the show. But what is it about the shallow, not necessarily shallow, but this person seeing 1 or 2 episodes and saying, yeah, it's not really for me? Was it too gentle at the time? Was it not loud enough?
My partner, when he was a kid, he disliked Harvey Beaks. And I've talked to him about this quite a bit. He just said the main talking points he brought up whenever I asked him is because he thought it was a bit bland, which I heavily disagree with. Because I guess for a kid, it might be harder to connect with like some of the more relaxed, laid-back topics, even though as a kid I did, and I absolutely adored the show. But I can see how like some people think that it might be a little bit underwhelming, especially for a kid whose brain has been rotted with like breadwinners and Sanjay and Craig at the time.
Every cartoon at the time was based on an ADHD kid. Every single time. It's like they're impatient, they're hyperactive because that looks good on cartoons and TV. It means lots of action. And Harvey I've related to him far more because I actually thought you think about what you do. You overthink about what you do. And if you have generalized anxiety, OCD, or autism, there's a good chance you do what Harvey does to some degree and you think about it. You're not like these people like, let's just run in, let's do this, let's do that. You think about it and you need solitude time and you need your routine at times. And that was really relatable. And I think that's part of what was a big sticking point for many of us with Harvey Beaks. But go ahead, Dreamcast.
No, after you finish. I do have something to say about it after you finish.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I've been very fascinated, particularly since I started rewatching the episodes, saying, why doesn't this click with the wide audience? What is it about it that didn't quite work? Because what fascinates me about Harvey Beaks is there's this weird radio silence on the show ever since it came out. It's a perfectly legitimate, well-animated show, beautiful backgrounds. It's in an interesting forest setting.
Fantastic voice cast as well.
Beautiful voice cast, yeah. And
definitely.
it didn't quite click.
Well, I have a theory. Well, I think that... Okay, that's not what I was originally going to say. I was going to say that like after this. But I think that Nickelodeon in general needs to bring back or like mention their 2010 era, because back in like the 2010s, I feel like they were trying their hardest to appeal to the internet demographic. Like Breadwinners was originally an internet cartoon that went viral. So I think that they just wanted to make the memes, the watch us, we're cool fellow kids, stuff like that. So yeah.
That era of like networks where they were trying to be super pandery, being like, hey, look at us, we're so swag, we're gonna do the whip and nay.
Yeah. And I think that Nickelodeon might not want to go back to that era or like mention it because that era was quote unquote cringe. So yeah, they don't want to mention that. Instead they want to milk the 90s cartoons for the quadrillionth time and Avatar and Dating Phantom.
Well, we have no disposable income. Some of them.
Yeah. So
another
the second thing is, I feel like even if they mention the 2010s, they'll probably go for Tough Puppy, Breadwinners, Sanjay and Craig. They won't go for Harvey Beaks because maybe, I don't know if you know this, Strider, but T.H. Greenblatt actually was very vocal about the treatment that him and his team were getting from Nickelodeon. And some people speculate. Okay, he did post an apology afterwards about I apologize for what I said about Nickelodeon. Some people actually point out that he might have been forced to say that. So I think that just the fact that C.H. Greenblatt actually went against Nickelodeon and criticized them vocally on Tumblr, that might make Nickelodeon a bit hesitant to mention it.
It's a tough
Not to
part
yeah,
because, sorry, you go ahead.
not to mention like Harvey perfectly represents Nickelodeon's stupid philosophy about if your show doesn't if it's not as good as SpongeBob in the first season, then you're gone. So yeah, that too, because it's just associated with the treatment, and how Nickelodeon treated it. So
Yeah, and I think
that
that's
too.
another thing. A lot of people forget that SpongeBob actually had to take some time to like spread its wings, type of thing, and then it became the big phenomenon that it is. And then you could see with shows like Harvey, they were starting to just keep building and get better and better as things went along. But because of where the network was at the time, they already had their success. I guess this capitalistic idea of, well, you're not making us the money, you're not getting us as much revenue as we'd like, when we've got to cut the cord.
Yeah.
And ironically, if there was a person that would know exactly that about SpongeBob, it would be Greenblatt, because he actually worked on SpongeBob in the early years.
But you know what's
Yeah,
different? What is different there is that SpongeBob started in 1999, or was it 2001?
99.
1999, yeah.
That was a very different time where I watched SpongeBob on Cheese TV, on cartoon, like on a television show, and that was all I had. Nowadays, if your show doesn't it has a chance to either sink or swim, Uncle Grandpa's second season was way better, in my opinion. But by then, the audience was lost and the damage was done. If your show doesn't win people's attention in 2025, they will most likely switch over to another show and forget it, because there is such a huge amount of content available to them instantly. When I was a 7-year-old, I got 2 Disney movies that I watched over and over on VCR until the freaking tape wore out. That was it. And occasionally I rented something. How we browse has changed so much that a show does not get till the second season to prove itself. And that sucks, because you look at Bob's Burgers, that kind of sucked in the first season. But that got better and better and better. But back then, when it was made, it could afford to take that time. So I think what's changed so much is Harvey Beaks was just coming into the era. Look at Breadwinners. It was based on a video that got a couple of million views. I don't remember, a crap ton of views. And that had to get people's attention quickly. And yeah, like a Harvey Beaks episode is 22 minutes. That it took me days and days and days and days of putting my attention aside to watch Harvey Beaks again. But I wanted to, because I love the show. But that was a concentrated effort, and there is constantly other shows and cartoons and games fighting for people's attention. So I think the era has changed, and it is really sad that a show has to prove itself so quickly now. Many people will say here they got their opinions from reviews they watched on YouTube. That's a case where some of those reviewers will watch 1 episode of the show or 2 episodes, and some of us didn't even watch the full. I know I've got my opinion, or at least understand a show based on reviews of it. So it's such a different age of browsing. I think that plays a big part as to why SpongeBob got a chance and Harvey Beaks didn't. But not that I'm saying it got the treatment.
For sure. Very well said, I think. Because, like, I don't know, like, when I was a kid, I remember I had extremely limited access to, like, types of media. Like, it was literally only TV and CDs. Like, I remember I had this Alvin and the Chipmunks CD that I would just watch over and over again because of how, like, rare it was for us to, like, get stable internet connection. And so I just basically, like, and if there was a show I didn't like, I would, like, force myself to sit through it and let it, like, prove itself to me. Whereas nowadays, if something, like, doesn't catch our attention immediately, we always know, like, where else to go, because we have this extremely white sea of, like content. Like if you're just bored of this, even though you've only seen the first 10 seconds of it and haven't seen enough of it to make a proper judgment, you can just switch it off. And kids are more vulnerable to that, where like if it's like they don't click with something instantly, they're quick to jump to other places, and so on and so forth, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, and this is especially true with Harvey, because I remember I watched the first episode, took a gap, and then got to the rest of it, and based on the first episode, I just thought it was an above average show at best type of thing, and I guess it's just one of those that you really have to dedicate yourself to, or have an interest, or some sort of just be willing to see more type of thing, because it's just, yeah, you get much more, it gets better and better and better as it goes along type of thing. So, and again, this also goes back to sort of the thing said about YouTube opinions. Some person will say it's bad and they've only seen one episode type of thing, and I hate that so many of our kids and people today grasp their opinions based on what someone on the internet has said. That's just not a fair way of critiquing media type of thing. It's what matters to you, what resonates with you, what do you see out of this something that you've watched. It doesn't care what anybody else says, what do you see type of thing.
Kids aren't even interested in media nowadays. There's no interest around shows or games anymore. All they're interested in is Italian brain rot and Skibidi Toilet.
Oh no.
I want to. Can I hear about that?
It's got merch,
What?
apparently.
It does.
So, what are they interested in? Italian brave runs?
Brain
Italian
rot.
brain rot.
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen these videos where it's like ballerina cappuccina and it's like an AI
It's AI.
generated?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
God,
no.
I don't even want to think about that.
Oh, goodness.
And
Yeah, but,
kids everywhere are obsessed with that stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is
So I
that
was
probably
watching-
didn't cost $50 million to make. And your average cartoon episode, let's say Harvey Beaks is cheap. 5 million? 10 million? Maybe less, but a lot of freaking money. I remember Family Guy, I think Seth quoted saying each episode takes $50 million to make. So animation ain't cheap. And that's another reason that I think Nickelodeon was kind of making, and it's part of why I think they had a long shift back in that time towards sitcoms, because it's much cheaper to hire a bunch of child actors, teen actors, and even if they do a great job and that sort of thing, it's not necessarily as memorable as animation. But yeah, animation ain't cheap. So I think it plays a factor.
I never even thought about that when I consider the Nick sitcoms. Hey,
Much cheaper.
yeah. Something else. Well, kind of off topic, but it goes back to something Milky said, is how, or I guess what we felt when we watched Harvey, and some people felt that it wasn't hyperactive enough. I saw Harvey in a way that's like, I saw how he acted, and I saw it, and I was like, yeah, this is how somebody who's like a good, decent person who's well mannered acts. And I saw it, and I keep saying that it changed my life. This is how it changed it. I saw Harvey as a role model. I saw Harvey as like how I should act. So, I kind of, this is how I saw Harvey. Not really as a show that I needed to, needs to be hyperactive. No, I just saw it a lot more as like, yeah, it's a good show. I liked watching it, but I also saw it as a good role model kind of way.
You connected with it.
Yeah,
You connected.
the role model thing is definitely real. I felt that too.
I think the other thing is you didn't necessarily connect with Sanjay and Craig and say, this is how I should act. You connected with someone that you felt similar to and said, this is how I want to be. And I think that's really beautiful, because it shows that, yeah, Harvey connected with you in a way that, I don't know, Teen Titans Go, Sanjay and Craig, even, I don't know, Flapjack, the ways those shows you didn't connect with the characters,
Yeah,
for sure.
because this goes back to how unique of a protagonist Harvey is. Because me as a kid, at least, when I watched protagonists like Linking Loud, Gumball, Kick Patowski. I don't know why I remembered that show. They are very clearly like crazy cartoon characters. Like, yeah, I have fun watching them, but I'm not gonna act like them.
Yes,
They're just
that's it.
cartoon. Harvey
that's
though,
true.
yeah.
The
Harvey though,
interesting-
he's more.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Harvey though, he's more. He hits harder, and he's like shows you how a well-mannered kid acts, and I think that this is really what sets him apart. Because
Oh, that's
that's
a really good point.
For
Gumball
sure.
is a great example by contrast because I love Gumball and I really enjoy the show, but I don't come back to it as much because I connect with show. I like shows and games where I connect with the characters. Sonic, I connect with Sonic's characters. I connect with, so I come back to it. I don't care that much about Mario. I don't even remotely connect to him. But even though the games are probably better overall, better, I would say, better quality, I should say, I go with the shows I connect with, like and with Gumball, you are right, he's your kind of typical ADHD Gen Z, arguably Gen Alpha character, but Harvey feels so much more raw and real. It doesn't necessarily mean he's in a objectively more interesting show, more varied show, but he's a character you connect with, and sometimes that's more valuable to us than just being in an objectively more interesting show.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
to show
I agree.
how stupid it is with the current rise of AI channels, because I'm seeing a lot of bloody Gumball channels that's Gumball AI channels that like to look at Harvey Beaks and just see, oh, this protagonist is blue, they've got a pink and orange friends, it's ripping off Gumball, and so they're spreading
Yes,
misinformation
so cool.
on the internet to
I was
think
about to
that's so
mention that.
harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember an Instagram account uploaded like the video of the Harvey Beaks intro. I swear to God, when I went to the comments, I saw this show kind of reminds me of Gumball. This show looks like a Gumball ripoff. Comment every 5 comments, and
Couldn't
it
be more
pissed me
different.
the hell off. I know.
This is false. It's been around since the start, unfortunately.
Mm.
Yeah. Another thing about Harvey. So I just said how unique Harvey is. Let's go in the opposite way and say how generic Harvey is. So something that I love about Harvey is that it's not shy. It's not trying too hard from going away from cartoon tropes, but it perfects them. It doesn't because I'm a big fan of media that generally takes cartoon tropes and either parodies them or perfects them. I'm also a fan of Happy Tree Friends, which also does that. I know you're not a fan of Happy Tree Friends, Strider, or at least didn't used to.
Still not a big fan. That's a fair, safe bet. But what do you see in it that you really enjoy?
I just with the side of it that Happy Tree Friends, I don't know. I just like seeing those dumb characters that are somewhat interesting just get killed, and I just find it funny how you come in and expect a sad and a bad ending.
I guess for me, the problem I have with Happy Tree Friends is there is times I'll find, for example, in Drawn Together, the deaths really funny because they're so comical, but there's always this element of realism to Happy Tree Friends, I remember, where it would activate my mirror neurons, where it's like one of those skateboard crash videos where I don't see, haha, that's funny, he crashed. I see, oh my God, that must have hurt so much. They kind of show the tiny details of the head being ripped off or the way they slowly stop. It's just freaking horrifying to me.
Yeah.
And this connects to one of my group of friends, because one of my friends is a huge fan of like Jackass type of thing, and my other friend is like you, Strider. He doesn't see it as haha funny. He sees it as this is just a guy in a like potty loo getting flown into the air and then turds go everywhere, and it's just like, that's disgusting. That's not entertaining, that's just disgusting type of thing. So
yeah.
You know what this is reminiscent of? What you mentioned earlier in Call Strider about Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon. That's literally what it is. It's trying to be funny using like grotesque, gory humor, but it just ends up being freaking disturbing.
But some people like that. Like, my mum, as a support worker, has worked with a lot of neurotypical kids who will watch this stuff, and they'll just watch it for hours on end and just sort of absorb it and laugh at it. And it's so entertaining to them. But I guess when some of us see it, we're just like, ew, yeah, what was that? And like, I don't know, I laugh at Blackadder. I'll laugh at something where there's interesting writing that surprises me. I'll laugh at Simpsons. I'll laugh at Looney Tunes when he's like, yeah, I'm an elf, shoot me, it's elf season, and gets shot in the face, something like that, and his beak goes backwards. That's toony, that's fun. And isn't it funny how the humor has varied so much over the decades?
Yeah.
It's funny to
with
me.
with Happy Tree Friends, I understand that. It's not trying to be cartoony. It's trying to be realistically grotesque with these characters. There's actually a couple of deaths that myself, like, okay, most deaths I don't really feel them because, like, there's this one death in an episode called Tongue in Cheek that everybody goes insane about. I honestly think it's way too cartoony to a point where I can't feel it. But
I can picture that. Oh.
Yeah, but there is a death in another episode, a very quick one, but it triggers something very uncomfortable in me. I really, really hate stuff that have to do with veins, specifically, under your hand, the veins.
Oh.
And one death has to do with that, and I just never laugh at that. That's just.
No. And see, that's the problem. Too much of it is far too realistic and repeatable for my sake. Like when you put one of those little tree friends in a cart or something in the garage without any open air vent, and they just let it go until they die of oxygen asphyxiation, that's not funny to me. That's horrifying. That's so real. And I'm not even allowed to use the term suicide on without a big warning coming up on my video saying, warning, this will, and I think that's going far too far. But when you're actually, I guess it's a bit like, I'm clearly biased on this because I never laughed at when they showed people how to kill themselves with the wrists on Family Guy. I am kind of remembered for calling that out and reacting pretty badly to it. And I guess for me, when I see that stuff that is imitatable, and not like, I don't know, as well as me not finding it funny, I just think it's too real. It's too, I think of the real people I've seen in real life who've done these horrible things or known people who have. And I just think I can't unsee that, I guess,
Yeah, it hits too close to, your thoughts and stuff. I totally agree with that. Happy Tree Friends is not a show for everyone. Neither is really Jackass or stuff like that. Yeah, but to go back into why I brought Happy Tree Friends up, it and Harvey have something in common. They poke fun or, are not afraid from showing off cartoon tropes. Like, just for example, the girl wearing a red bow or something like that. And Harvey specifically goes for writing, write episodes that are not too different from other shows, like the sleepover episode or the episode where one character is not here, or like stuff like that. And because it perfects them, it perfects those episodes. I unfortunately don't really have any specific examples right now in my head.
I've got a trope for you from one of the episodes that I just noticed. You remember the Grand Hotel one?
Yeah, but unfortunately that's episodes I haven't seen in years.
I do remember those, so go on.
Yeah, I just remember that's kind of a common cartoon trope because immediately I thought SpongeBob did this, where the person needs everything in the party to be perfect, but everyone's having a fun time around them and they're constantly trying to ruin the party by putting it back into their silly, incredibly structured way rather than just letting the people have fun. Oh, that's right. Winnie the Pooh did this as well. Parties have to be on schedule. Rabbit was trying to. I've seen the trope over and over and over again, and you know how it's going to go. They're going to say, they try and ruin the party because they're so oblivious that the party's going wonderful around them. And I guess it's a good message, but I guess I saw that so many times. And Harvey did it well, and his friends were fine, but I did sort of see that cartoon trope. And occasionally I'll see that, but for the most part, Harvey does stick to fairly original. I'm not going to say original premises, but they do it differently enough and with such interesting characters that I can see Harvey, Fee, and Foo in any setting and be like, oh, this is still cool. How are they going to handle this?
Yeah.
For sure.
What? Yeah, and another thing about Harvey is that okay, maybe this goes back into neurodivergence, but I always ask the other people in the community, like I always ask TJ and Sam about this. The character Kathy, I kind of see her similar as being, similar to my neurodivergent friends, and she is a season 2 character. She appears in the start of season 2, so yeah, she is like.
We actually did an episode on her, Strider. If you want to check that out.
Yeah. Send me the link when we're done, and I'll gladly check out some of these podcasts.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay,
man.
you got it.
I would love to,
Absolutely.
if I may ask, we should probably draw to a close soon. I think we've been going over 2 hours or so, and I can start to hear everyone's breath getting a bit tired. But I would love to know if TJ doesn't have any more questions or anything like that. What did you think of the young sibling? I haven't gotten into much of season 2 yet, but what did you think of his little sister?
This leads into one more question that I did have. Is just what are your as you've gone back and watched season 1, what do you think of the minor characters now? Because I remember in your commentary video you were like, I love Harvey and Fee and Foo, but the minor characters don't mean as much to me, type of thing. So I'm wondering now that you've rewatched it, has your opinion changed on that?
You know what? I've specifically got Harvey Beaks characters pulled up here. I'd say they've aged better. I definitely give them more time. In some ways, Foo has moments of annoying me, and I actually prefer someone like, what was the name of that rabbit who starts off really
Dade.
Dade really grew on me, where he used to annoy me quite a lot, but as I watched more of the series, I was like, this guy's kind of charming. It's like how Angelica grew on me as I got older. I used to think Angelica was the worst, but when I came back to her as an adult, I'm like, this is kind of adorable. And so I definitely think the characters have aged better. I think the parents are fine too. I think they're kind of your standard progressive parents in a modern world. I think they've aged really well. They don't really stand out to me. The father's adorably dorky. He's a kind of realistic depiction of a father in some ways, because he is your modern dad in some ways, the kind of the dorky one that's a millennial, my age, basically, that is grown up with all this other sort of stuff and has a sort of dorky outlook. I would be curious what you guys think of the minor characters.
Yeah.
We love them.
Yeah,
we love them.
We absolutely love them.
I do think my favorite character in the whole show on a writing basis isn't Harvey. I actually think Fee takes the cake because a lot of her development is very interesting, specifically in the last couple of episodes, specifically with Blister, and Harvey too is amazing. I want to talk to you about the finale, or I guess describe the final scene to you without much spoilers. If I think you already know what happens in the finale, right?
From my understanding, Fee and Foo's parents come back and Harvey has to say goodbye to them.
Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah,
that's what it essentially is.
Yeah,
that's the big part. So yeah, I think Fee is my favorite character altogether when it comes to writing. But my favorite side character, it used to be Peri Peri, but that's, I think, just because I found her personality and her voice cute. Shout out to Maddie, the voice actor, who is also the only cast member that we interacted with.
Trying to get on the podcast.
Yeah.
Besides our friend Justin, who has actually talked to Greenblatt, but that's besides the point. Go on, Dreamcast.
Besides the point, yeah. Shout out to Justin. I think my favorite side character is Princess, which is not a popular opinion.
Yes, it's got a mix reception.
Oh, Princess grew on me too. I got to say.
Lumpy
I guess
Space
I just
Princess,
see,
you connected
yeah,
to
I
her
just
too,
see Lumpy
yeah.
Space Princess in her, and I kind of wonder if that's a shared joke between writers or something, because you just have these characters who have a very masculine voice, who are far too small for that voice, who are just like I own this, no one tells me what to do. They're kind of the over the top Angelica in some ways, without any subtlety, and they're hilarious at how over the top, and they contrast so differently from the other complex characters, and like with their individual personalities who act far more like real children. And then you just got this one guy who comes in, just like, I love it.
Yeah,
Personally.
like Daddy, I want this toy. Daddy, I
Oh
want to win
yeah,
this
that's
competition.
Yeah. About Princess, and the reason I love her so much is she does have problems, and she is a flawed person. But one, her problems isn't like, it's not to the extreme. She is not an abused kid, at least from what I see her. She's not abused. She just has problems growing up, and her father over spoils her, which she like, not to a dangerous degree, but it still happens, and she needs to learn a lot. She needs to learn a lot of things, and I specifically love Princess Harvey, and Princess wants a mom for that, and like,
Yeah, both are
yeah,
good episodes.
yeah, she is a flawed person, but she's not a devil. She's not a villain, and she does have problems in the way that she was raised in the her household. But she's not abused, and her father is not a terrible person. He's just a flawed parent. A parent that has flaws. He just like how he has positives, he has flaws, and I just love that princess. How Princess is represented. And she's just a great character. Whenever she does something, she's just really funny, and also whenever she does something kind, it just really stands out.
She's a character I feel you want to like in the presentation, so you're just kind of waiting for her to do something nice. But that trope you're talking about, it's real. It's very real. We've had the Veruca Salt back in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in the 1980s. That followed that trope too, of like I want everything now, and to be fair, we've honed that trope and polished it, so she's still more real character and not just rotten to the core. She just needs a little bit of her face rubbed in the dirt a bit, and saying not everyone's going to do everything for you, princess. The world isn't going to bow to your whims. But it's kind of cute watching her go through the process, and they do a good balance of keeping her relatively likable, but also not taking her too seriously.
Yeah, and in a similar
Yeah.
vein, that's why I connect with Fu the most, and he's my favorite side character, because yes, he's a very crazy, energetic character type of thing, but he also has these fantastic moments, especially in the rental bike, which is probably my new favorite episode of the show type of thing, where he gets to just ask, you know what, I really wanted to do this cool thing with you, Harvey, but you come first type of thing. And then in the finale, Fu kind of helps convince Fee to change the side of the story of it wasn't them leaving us alone for so long, it was them looking for us for so long type of thing. And I just feel like in regards to summing up his character, those moments kind of go under the radar compared to the other things he does, like creating shoes and playing with plants and getting his eyes bulged out and being the god of a bug type of thing.
I've said this before in a previous episode, but a lot of people tend to understand what Fu is. He's not stupid. He's not dumb. He just likes to be energetic. He likes to, have this like hyper status, like running around eating berries. But you can see that he's a really smart and like well-spoken character at heart. Same with like Fee.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that goes back to me connected to Captain Underpants and George and Harold's type of thing, because I see both Harvey and Fu in my personalities type of thing. Like, I'm mostly Harvey in my life, but if I'm with my two favorite friends, I'm Fu, I'm the energizer, I'm the one that's enjoying his time the most type of thing.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. That really is. And I can say Fu is probably my least favorite of the three, but the more I hear you talk about it, the more I can see why he's a more complex character. Because you're right, there is more to him than that. He's not just stupid. He has a different way of seeing the world. And it does feel sort of like you're dealing with someone who's just been in the mountains, just been in the forest, who doesn't really understand social norms. And it can bring out awkward moments, but at the same time, you get it. And it is kind of raw and charming at the
He's
same time.
he's just like his parents, Bada and Grada, which we meet at the last episode. You can kind of see that they've got the same airheaded personality that their son has. I mean, they try to sell stuff to Irving and Miriam with a snake.
Oh, I just thought of something. So, the finale. I guess him, Milky, and Sam. Do you guys want to talk about your favorite side characters before? Because I want to jump into something, then I will jump into the finale.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You go first, Milky.
I'll let Sam go first.
Okay, so be really quiet. So I just went the side room. So yeah, love Dane. He's just so obsessed with Harvey, and I find it really funny, like how he's how do I describe this? Basically, yeah, he's just Harvey everywhere. I think I had this thought yesterday that he sleeps in his room with if Harvey pluses were a real thing, which please one day release have. I want these Harvey pluses because they will be so huggable. But yeah, I thought that he slept with 15
Personally,
Harvey pluses. Yeah, it's
It'd be like Patchy with SpongeBob. He would have full of his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
honestly, my favorite side character besides Kathy, because I think I've made it clear to TJ Dreamcast and Sam that my favorite was Kathy. But besides Kathy, the characters that we see more often, I'd say Kratz has to be my favorite. I don't know, he's just so underrated. Even though he's sort of designed to be the unlucky character, the one that's always getting in trouble,
for sure
having bad things happen to him. I think at the end of the day, he's really charming, especially with the episode. What was it called? It was the one after
Unknown comic.
The Unknown Comic. Yeah. And
No,
that episode really shone on the fact that Kratz was more than just a klutz. He was someone capable of, bringing his ideas to life, even if under an alias, not revealing his true identity at first. And we've also seen how he is capable of finding love, finding community when he got together with Kathy. I thought that was really, I don't know, he's just a really fun character to see grow beyond the scope of just, oh, this guy exists for fun and so that we can torture him.
He is a bit of a millhouse. It treated as a bit of a millhouse in the series, even if there's depth there. The story at the start just kind of wants to dump on him, and I just definitely noticed that in the first season, where I'm just like, give this poor kid a break. And he's put in a way where kind of the world just kind of ignores him, where he's very hard to notice. And there's probably a really neat kid under there, but the story doesn't want a half of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thankfully there are some episodes in season 2 that flip the coin a little bit on that, but in due time.
And I'll just
something about Kathy is that I think Kathy with a K will be a special episode for you, Strider, because the plot of it, I'm just gonna simplify it.
Which episode?
It's about Kathy with a K. It's the true first episode of season 2 after the whole Michelle born. So it deals with passion. So Kathy makes a blog about her leaves. But the problem is that she, and Harvey wants to support her because he's genuinely interested in her interest over leaves. So, they go to big YouTubers and they give them a shout out. So Kathy is surrounded by all of these quote unquote fans that don't actually care about leaves, just care about her because she's popular. And even though Kathy is surrounded by all of these people that look after her just because she's popular, she hates it and even storms out of it. And the reason the episode is called Kathy with a K is because they don't remember her name. So she just tells them, "I'm Kathy with a K." And the end of the episode has her being happy because she's surrounded by people that, you know, actually care about leaves. It is like a very small club set in the headquarters of Harvey's kitchen, but people are genuinely interested, and that makes her happy. So, what do you think of that, Strider?
I think it's incredibly relatable, and that is actually where I stopped watching the series because it was really relatable to me. Where I have had many a time where I'll connect more with just a small group like this with a similar passion than I will at a big YouTuber conference or VidCon or something like that. And I'm going way back here, but I just really do connect with people who are just people, just wanting to discuss a topic that we're all passionate about because we're all people at the end of the day. And I think Kathy, she was the kind of YouTuber I love because she just wanted to talk about what she's passionate about. And so many channels now I see are just, they've got a bull crap and they don't really feel passionate about the subject. And I'm like, when you're deeply passionate about something, I even like bad movies that are deeply passionate. 50 Shades, you know, I know it's a bad movie, but the writer was clearly passionate about her terrible writing. And to me, that's really fascinating. And that's probably not an example many people connect with, but I just find that really so much more interesting than when you're just talking about your fans or what you've been doing. I don't know. I get so much self-indulgent stuff from so many YouTubers nowadays. I'm like, you talk about your passion, your love, and that sort of thing. And I don't know, I don't feel it with some nowadays. So I connected perhaps too much with that episode. So yeah.
Yeah, so it got a little overbearing for you, and you.
Oh yes, that is the best way to put it. And it actually is partially what put me off. One of the final South Park episode I watched years ago was the episode where Cartman Bro, because I watched that and I'm like, I never want to watch the show again. That was too much. Like I can't do this. And that obviously isn't the only reason I walked away from the show, but that episode was too much. And ironically, I just realized that's the episode I stopped watching Harvey Beaks. That's something.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
It's completely fair, considering like how you'd rather not be reminded big fan base in such a like personal environment like this. Well, not personal, but like small.
The
It's like a small group.
superficiality, it eats me up inside, and I see it so often over the last 11 years. And I think when I see that, it really cuts me deep. And so I think, yeah, that was kind of brought that out in me, but it's still back on topic, a really good episode. And it just shows how good it is because it really did connect with me, you know, and it made a very good point, which I totally agree with. She needs to find people that just love talking about leaves, you know, it doesn't need the superficiality. She's a good YouTuber because she talks about what she loves, not because she thinks people are watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not for clout.
Yeah.
It is one of the best episodes. It's also way ahead of its time because all of that is in like 2016 to 2017.
Oh, it was all starting about then. They started monetizing YouTube around 2012, 2013, and it was just hitting its apex. Before then, we were getting videos about dancing pandas and pandas sneezing and cats and that sort of thing. And it was such a different beast because money wasn't involved. And yeah, it was just starting to happen then over the first few years. So it was very well timed about Leafs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now something else before I jump to the finale is there's a specific relationship that I like in the show. Is the relationship between Fee and Harvey's mother, Miriam. And it is represented in a big sister, little sister kind of archetype. But what I like is that even though Miriam has a wild side to her, even though she can go crazy and she can have fun, she doesn't understand that she has different sides to her. She thinks that there is 2 episodes that showcase that being the second part of Comet Night and Mr. and Mrs. Porks. But I really like how it handles that. People have different sides, and Miriam always tells Fee that I'm having fun, I'm being wild, but I'm at the end, a responsible adult. I have responsibilities. No need to worry about me. I'm just being wild for a day or an hour. So, but Fee, has to understand that. So yeah, I really like that.
In some ways, I actually found the opposite in the first episode with the comet, where they underplay it, and I find it very interesting what they did in the comet episode, because it's Miriam that goes too far and Fia wants her to draw it back. But something they don't even mention again, they don't have the speech at the end of Miriam say, I'm sorry, I was having a midlife crisis and realized all the things I left behind. But they have Miriam look at a person in the retirement home who looks just like her, or very similar, older. And with that, she gets even more daring. That is really good show don't tell writing. They never mention it again. She says, I went too far. But Miriam is going through that inner struggle as well. And that's the thing. The adults are having their own personal challenges as well. The focus is on the kids. But yeah, that really spoke to me as well, because Miriam is going through that period, but they never mention it. And in any other cartoon I watch, I was just like, how did you, I would expect them to say, I'm sorry, I saw that and I felt old and such. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, but the thing that I was talking about, it definitely appears more in Mr. and Mrs. Borks. But yeah, I see what you mean. I do remember that scene with her looking at the older person that looks like her, and yeah, I never really thought much of that. I was just thinking, she just doesn't want to look old and lame, so she just goes and dares. But yeah, that is actually
she's scared of getting old. She's scared of not living her life, and that her best years are behind her, and it's not too long till she becomes that. That's what she's scared. I don't know. Maybe I'm drawing too much into it. That was immediately what I saw, though.
No, you're not, because I thought the same thing for sure. Because you can definitely see her desperately clinging onto the hope that one day she'll be able to fully resurrect that, especially with her old band.
Yeah, true. The old band and the dad band. That was really interesting too. Again, we're getting a bit of commentary. Oh, that was so relatable. Hey, that every dad has these old hobbies or stuff that don't necessarily lead anywhere. I mean, in this case, it led to the sillies, but where they just kind of need to get back and dream a bit. And it's both. It's very relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, should we jump into the finale?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, I do want to a dynamic that I've realized now as we're talking is that the finale isn't just about Fee accepting her parents and having to accept that just she has to go with them, but it's also kind of the ultimate episode of Fee versus Fu. Fee as the more protective side, with Fu being the more down to earth, fun-loving side, but it's still a genuinely good and reliable person. And the good thing on you, Milky, for always saying how Fu is exactly like his parents, because yeah, they're exactly like Fu. They're not like Fee, who is grown up and developed and learned all of these lessons. No, they're exactly like Fu. So Fee um doesn't just have to accept her parents. No, she has to also accept Fu, because her parents are more similar to Fu, and that's how her family works.
For sure. I think it's just cultural differences. It's not differences in intelligence level. That's just what their culture is like.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. The culture is it's a bit of a shame we never got to see any of it, but yeah, it just looks super fascinating. I'm sure if there was another scene, that would have been explored.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would have had an idea of. Sorry, if I may just quickly interject. I wonder what they would have done if they had ever done a third season. I got the impression Greenblatt knew it was over, but
we also did an entire episode on that. We did an entire episode of season 3 theorems.
Oh, I guess I should go watch it then.
Yeah, but yeah, we did at least know that there was a plan for season 3 and season 4. Season
Oh.
3 would have had the twins' parents move in, and the twins would have had to teach how their parents how to parent, and then season 4, the Roland, who's Harvey's grandpa, would have moved in, and then the season 3 finale was planned. That was what happened with one of Harvey's grandmothers, who's Irving's father, who passed away before the series, so we never got to see but we did at least get an episode with Harvey's grandparents, the ones that are living at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the last scene, the literal last thing that we see in the show. Not the mailbox, no, the thing before it, Harvey swinging. So, anybody wants to say anything about the finale before that? Because that's like the ultimate ending, I reckon.
I
It was so
but I
good.
think I would like Strider to just, if he does ever get to this point, get his own sort of judgment of it type of thing. But otherwise, just wait and see how things go. Yeah.
Well, you guys, as long as there's no big spoilers, I will say, particularly after this and listening to this and reminding me of some of the characters, I really want to see how Harvey's sister turns out, because I remember it ended, I think it was season 1, where she turned out, it was like, oh, she's going to be rotten. But I imagine, knowing Harvey Beaks, they're going to expand upon her character, and she's going to be a little bit more than that. So I am curious what his little sister is going to turn out being like.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a few episodes centered around her in season 2 that I think you'll grow warm to, but I'm not gonna spoil them for you. I feel like I've already spoiled enough stuff for you, like the whole Fee and Blister thing.
Oh, you're fine. I already knew that, and I actually went ahead to watch that episode because you did mention it was really good. So I was like, and it's place and time, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, no, really good.
Yeah. So the finale, the last thing that we see. It's maybe not the biggest spoiler. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a spoiler, but after Fee and Fu leave, we get this beautiful shot of Harvey swinging. I'm not gonna go into specifics of the swinging, but we just see him swinging, and while we're swinging, he's breaking a sort of personal taboo of him. Something that a rule that he himself made. One of the many rules that he made for himself, and that scene perfectly summarizes why Harvey, for me, is one of the best cartoon protagonists ever. Because first of all, he accepts the fact that Fee and Fu left. He realizes that that's probably better for them. He realizes that people will go. He didn't try to hold them back. I swear, if this was, I don't know, Lincoln Loud or Gumball or any other cartoon protagonist, they would try to come up with a scheme or try to make the friends stay.
Yep.
But Harvey,
Sure.
yeah, but Harvey, he knows what's better for his friends, and he knows that, and he learned that in the past episode, that people go and that it's just better for them sometimes. So yeah, as he's swinging, we get some flashbacks of scenes of what happened, and that to me is not only the perfect finale because it shows us that Harvey is perfectly he is not just learning things. It's not just an episodic show that stuff happened in it and the characters forget it. No, he learned everything, and it will stay with him. But it also just shows how mature he is and how the show ended. But Harvey, we as viewers will not get worried. Oh no, what's Harvey doing? What's Harvey gonna up to? Is Harvey gonna get in trouble? No. This scene ensures us that Harvey is gonna keep on learning and using what he learned, and he's perfectly okay. And that's why I'm not too worried about getting a season 3 or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that ending. I love how Harvey handled it. He was just mature and didn't come up with any funny scheme.
It's a full circle moment. It just shows that even if you've only got 52 episodes, you can give a character a big full arc,
Oh, absolutely. And another thing is at least all the main side characters had their own episodes, even though it's
Well, most of them anyways.
Right?
I think
I appreciated that so much about the show, that it took time to fully flesh out those characters that we saw and interacted with less.
Yeah, because I think in our fandom, at least in our Discord server, everyone's favorite is it's so diverse. I don't think there's no clear number one favorite, which is, I think that's excellent, and this shows how good all these characters are.
We all point to different characters we think are our favorites. And sorry, I'm using my thing. We all point to different characters that are our favorites, and that kind of shows that we don't all go, "Oh, it's Harvey," I think that really shows the diverseness of the show and how much it fleshes out the characters.
Yeah, each character has their own mindset, their own story, their own opinions, how they would act, and it's honestly one of the best cartoons when it comes to not just the protagonist, but the side characters too. It's just one of the best cartoons of all time, I guess.
Yeah, I heavy.
Oh, actually, back then, Hilda was my favorite show, but now it changed to Harvey. Have you watched Hilda, Strider?
Hillbill.
Hilda.
Hilda with an A.
Yeah. Oh, that takes me back. What was that? 2016, 2017?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 2017. I think I watched about 6 or 7 episodes, and I can see why you were drawn to that too, because it's on that same wavelength and tone where it does. Both of them remind me of Puffin Rock, which is my favorite kids cartoon. I don't consider Harvey Beaks just for little kids, but they have that similar tone where the colors are a bit more gentle. They've got those lessons to learn and personal human growth every episode. And Hilda was that way too. I remember this one about Sheath saying she's not scared of anything, then discovering she is scared. And no, Hilda was very charming as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it used to be my favorite show, but now Harvey became my favorite show just because of the impact that it left on me compared to Hilda.
You have multiple shows you like. Hilda has its good moments, and certainly Harvey does.
Yeah. We were talking in the beginning. We were talking about shows that were kind of similar to the quiet side of Harvey. I think Clarence might be the closest thing to Harvey that is not Nickelodeon, but that show also suffered from back in the day when stuff were called gross out shows, and it does have some gross out because it's realistic, but Clarence is also up there for me.
Oh, I could do as an entire spiel on Clarence because I did a fair bit of research, not a lot, a fair bit of research on Clarence as a character because he was brought up a lot as characters who are on the autism spectrum. And I spoke to my mum about it, who, as I said, is also on the spectrum, has taught kids for 40 years who are on the spectrum. And I like Clarence. I was going to mention him, but the problem is she felt in some ways he insults real people on the spectrum. I like Clarence myself, but that was what she got from a small grasp. And I was like, I don't know, because he does have some, but at the same time, that kind of makes him more raw, that he has those gross out moments, that he does the awkward stuff. And I still say, originally I was going to say he's level 2. I'd say he's level 2 on the autism spectrum, where he's really socially struggling. I'm sorry, I went on a spiel and tangent of how he's on the spectrum, but that's not even what you asked.
Honestly, I don't think that was your mom's intention. I definitely do not believe that was your intention, but I always find it a little bit, and I don't know if this word is too strong, but I find it a little bit ableist when people see characters that are more autistic, that exude traits to greater intensity, and then they're that character makes me uncomfortable. It feels insulting to me. It feels weird and annoying to me, because really that's just the same disorder you have, but to a more extreme end of the spectrum. And so it always just like rubs me the wrong way. Not that I think that was
No, that's okay, Milkery. I agree that it wasn't the interpretation I got either. Clarence definitely has his gross out moments, but what stands out to me is he shows the not so pretty side of being on the spectrum and the awkward moments, and the fact that they're sometimes bullied and they're sometimes not treated well, as sometimes we do weird things with our food and can have strange texture fascinations. And it shows a lot of the sides anyway, and he has a very select group of friends. I think the animation irks some people. I think that's what puts some older people off, but I found he was one of the very few characters I could say in the cartoon list that was level 2. I only had one level 3, maybe 2, which, do you know the 3 levels? Basically, level 1, probably most of us, maybe level 2, which is very low support. Level 2 is medium support, where you require a lot of support throughout your life to sort of just living a normal life, but you can still live independently. That sort of level 3 is often people who are mute, who just struggle too much and need a great substantial amount of support in a regular society. And for me, most of the cartoon characters I think of were level 1, because it's much easier to have a level 1 character because they can still communicate with other characters. They're not stuck on a tablet in their room most of their life, or unliking a lot of the sound and stimuli and visuals of the world, which is more level 3 at times. And they don't have as many sort of outbursts, or what do you call meltdowns and that sort of thing.
Meltdowns, yeah.
And I think of I'm sorry, I went on a complete tangent. But to me, level 2 is definitely where I would sort of put Clarence. And I think that makes him interesting because he is struggling to sort of have a normal day-to-day life, and he's so different. Harvey could kind of fit into a crowd. Clarence couldn't. And I think, that's an interesting part about Clarence. It's not necessarily...
Honestly...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I do want to say something about level, because I've always I hear a lot of people refer to autism in level 1, level 3, and while I do understand it, I do think that it's a valid way to group different intensities of autism. I feel like it's a lot more nuanced than that, because an autistic person could be level socially, be able to socialize, but then they could be at a higher level sensory issues with textures and smells and sounds and needing to stim and stuff like that. So it could be very different for each category. That's why
You're 110% correct on that, Milkery. And Tony Atwood, the person who diagnosed me, Professor Tony Atwood, actually brought this up, is the problem with these levels is while it does help us categorize people who might need a little more support, a little less, it also underplays people on, say, level 1 or 2 as having less challenges, which is simply, you don't want to underplay the challenges all of us face mentally on a day-to-day basis. I feel level 3 when I have a motorbike go by and it crushes me. I have to put my fingers in my ears. It's horrendous. There are moments I feel level 2, and you're right, it's a nuanced scale. And there's moments where Harvey might feel level 2 and just being so rigid in his ways, but level 1 other times when he's socializing with Fee and Foo. And no, you're absolutely right. And it is very contentious for that reason, particularly among psychologists.
Yeah, for sure. It's a topic of debate and continuous research.
Absolutely.
Well, this was been a fantastic discussion here, but I do think it might be time to wrap things up.
We've been pushing on 3 hours now.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I just got so caught up in some of our conversations, and had such a fun time. This has been great.
It's okay. Me too. It was very fun, very engaging.
Wait a second. I do want to dedicate the last bit of the podcast just for us to say thank you, not just for participating, but for everything. You changed us pretty much.
Yeah, man, and especially me, man. Your videos on depression, anxiety, autism help type of thing has actually had an input on my actual life. I talked to you a long time ago on one of your park walk streams about how I was biking for a bit throughout my teenage years, and nowadays whenever I'm feeling really stressed, I like to go on walks around my neighborhood, and recently I've just started to do more things I would do at home outside, like reading comics and stuff, and that's just I thank you a lot for that, man, because while obviously it never fixes or just makes permanent changes to things, it's still, like, as you said years ago, it can turn your day from like a 3 out of 10 to like a 4 out of 10 type of thing. So I just want to thank you so much for that, because it's something that I cherish regularly in my day-to-day life.
You're most welcome. It's my privilege, TJ, and thank you for being there. I should do more of those. And it's something that really means a lot to me to hear right now, because it's been a rough 6 to 12 months, as my 10 years are basically up. I had a really good 8 to 9 years of being quote unquote popular, and to still know there are people out here who still love to hear what I have to say, or at least I affected a time back then. That means the world to me, because it just means that, you know, my hard work and effort to bring interesting content and be myself authentically, that it came through to people. And that's, you just get numbers on YouTube, and you don't get real people saying how they were affected by something you said. And so thank you likewise, TJ. And thanks for having me on the show. This has been awesome.
Yeah, this was such a privilege, man. I'm just so grateful that even this many years later, after the show's cancellation, where it could easily have turned into lost media, we're still talking about it and keeping the memory alive, because this is the type of show that's just so clever and well animated and well written that it deserves to have a memory. It deserves to be preserved in one way or another.
It was an authentic piece of something Greenblatt had to say, and whoever else worked on it. It came from the heart, and you appreciate that more and more nowadays. And so, totally agree.
Especially in our very overstimulated entertainment industry, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, Sam, what do you want to say to Strider?
Oh wow, this is going to be quite a bit, but I knew about Harvey back when I first saw your video of Best Nick shows, which I actually remember where I watched it from for the first time back in 2016. All of us are too old now, but yeah, just wow, that kind of brings back that bit of memories, like watching on your videos on the tablet back in early 2016.
Oh, it's a memory trip for me too. Hey, like just going back to that time where it was like it's nearly been 10 years, and like I still remember Harvey Beaks though clear as day, and some of the shows at the time. So I totally get what you mean there, Sam.
Yeah. Like I was in primary school back when Harvey was airing, and I kind of realized this a month or two ago, but like I feel like I was pretty fortunate to see Harvey, because if it like came out like 2 to 3 years, I would have never come across it, and I would never be here today. Like I feel pretty fortunate, like how this all lined up, and like I'm kind of going back to what I talked about this a little bit earlier, but yeah, like at the start of the year, I kind of rewatched your Best Nick shows, because I like going through my old YouTube videos I watch, and by chance,
Do you ever like make a custom playlist? Sorry to go on a tangent. I'm just curious. Do you ever like a custom playlist of like YouTube various creators and that sort of thing you like to look through, of just comfort videos?
No, surprisingly.
I totally do that.
Maybe that's something I have to do, but yeah, I just kind of, I feel like all these like old videos like I watched back in 8 years ago, back when I was at primary and intermediate, like year 7 and 8 in New Zealand, which is like the last year of primary in Australia. Okay, a bit sidetracked, but yeah.
It was a simpler world back then, wasn't it? It really feels like so much time has passed in some ways.
Yeah, but after I saw that video about Harvey, I came across more videos about Harvey that I'd never seen before, and then I watched them out of curiosity because I wanted to learn a bit more, and then it led me to another video, and yeah, it kind of all snowballed pretty quickly to the point where by the end of that week where I discovered Harvey, I realized, oh my god, he's like me. And then that like night, I think I I had just gotten back from like a camp where I started to think about Harvey, and then yeah, it started to creep up on me that he was a lot like me. And then yeah, and just spent like the next few days, like all I could think about was just Harvey, and like how he didn't deserve what had happened. With, I mean, all of us fans know what the story. I don't need to repeat anything, but yeah, just like I could only think about Harvey, and like I just basically went through the stages of grief. Which yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty unexpected.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like I was just thinking, like it reflects what some people go through, where you have a song for a short time and it affects people during that time. You might not be able to tell your full song, but while you've got people's attention for a short time, you can tell part of the song. And, you know, something isn't necessarily beautiful because it lasts. You know, Firefly only got one season and people remember that so well. You know, Harvey Beaks affected all of us. And frankly, if just these 5 people here were just affected this deeply by Harvey Beaks, that to me would be worth the time, you know. But it doesn't look like that way in numbers to a Nickelodeon executive. But no, I totally get where you're coming from. But it was a beautiful song while it lasted.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think I've kind of got a didn't really cover this, but I think I posted like a poll in like our server like a month ago, asking if they would prefer like the Erupt themed or whether it goes on and just keeps getting movies, merch, yeah, basically what's happened to everything that because decided to be the cash cow. And like unsurprisingly or surprisingly, I think everyone chose the Erupt end because otherwise the quality would go downhill. I mean, obviously we'll never know, but yeah, I mean, I think
I've actually got a phone call, guys. Might have to draw it up quickly soon here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll just rust this.
Do me and Dreamcast still have time to thank you?
I mean, yeah, just go ahead. I forgot that we
He's currently, I think currently he's on his phone call. Let him finish that.
Okay, sorry about that. It was just Nin. I should have put her on the speakerphone. You go, wow.
Oh, that would have been nice for anyone still watching, which I imagine will be pretty low, but yeah.
Oh no, you're fine. I said I'd bring it back. It's fine. So but yeah, this has been a really good discussion, guys. Thanks very much for talking about this stuff with me.
Yeah. Did you guys
you're
want to
welcome.
thank real quick Milky and Dreamcast?
Yeah, and then we'll let you go, Strider. I'm sorry that we've liked you for so long. We were just really excited to talk.
So interesting. I kind of needed a good heart-to-heart chat on these sort of topics, and we covered everything, didn't we? It's been really cool.
Yeah. We've been very talkative. Good episode, you guys.
Yeah.
As for my thanks, I just want to say, like, back in the day, I used to watch like lots of cartoon YouTubers like you, Saber Spark, Veilski Bum, Jordan Fringe, LS Mark, and it was always like my dream or like one of my dreams, one of the things that I wanted to do eventually was to like reach out to these YouTubers and, you know, like talk to them about, you know, how they've, you know, inspired me, how they've given me like good recommendations for shows to watch, how they've changed the way that I discuss things, how I can like see critique for shows without like conflating it as like hatred, being able to see like the nuance in things, and you know, just like generally keeping tabs on the animation industry. And so you guys, you Strider, along with like other animation YouTubers, you guys definitely had like a big impact on my life, especially as someone whose first language isn't English, I learned a lot just from like watching you guys talk and discuss these shows. And I remember like when I told my podcast the Strider, he was Strider, like Phantom Strider, and then he freaked out, and I had to like calm him down. It was definitely really funny. And even that aside, I just don't want to like come across as like a parasocial fan, because I generally like don't like seeing people that way, even if I look at them, even if they're like popular, and I'm like, oh my god, this is such an exciting opportunity, big figure in the animation community. I just hope that we, or like me, like I or the other, sorry, I'm like jumbling up my.
You're all
That
good.
I or any of the other, people on this podcast have made it so that we haven't been like parasocial, haven't been overly. I
You've
hope
just been
that.
friends. You've just been nice people to chat with and love fellow people who I can just chat with. And I've really appreciated how down to earth everyone has been. And honestly, Milkery, and Dreamcast, both of you kind of blow me away in how good your English is. Like, I've tried to learn multiple languages over the past. I'm just terrible at it. And it always blows me away when someone in a completely different world, like Middle East, did you say, Milkery?
Yes, me
Yeah.
and
It's just-
Dreamcast are both Arab.
That's amazing, because you're in a completely different world to me, a different country, completely different cultures and customs and people and traffic and all this sort of different stuff. And I just find it so damn cool that we all connect over these shows. And sorry, for me, I just find that so cool when I hear that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess my things. Well, like I said, yeah, you are one of the channels that made me learn English much quicker, and well, I guess I guess like it's the reason that I'm currently in college, because believe it or not, I am like majoring in something very close to English. So yeah,
Whoa.
I think that if it wasn't for English speaking YouTubers like you, I probably would never have made it to that level. So yeah, but besides that, like when I say that you made us the cartoon nerds that we are, I truly mean it. Like, uh, even if when I was watching your videos back in the day, I didn't understand everything. I just loved seeing the cartoons and seeing the clips that you put in, and seeing just like your tone of voice, and seeing which cartoon is quality, which cartoon I should watch, which one I shouldn't watch. I really loved that. Even though I'm against that, I'm against people having their opinions from YouTubers, but I think that you. Uh, Definitely made me look in the right direction when it comes to shows, and I honestly just can't believe that I made this little I made the Harvey Beaks server because over the years I always tried to look for a Harvey Beaks community, whether it's a Discord. There was a Reddit, but it was private for the most time. uh, so I made this community thinking, I'll just make it for like a day and then forget about it because nobody will join. Then there's one user that God bless his soul, Back Bay. He joined in and made me have this hope that this show still has a community, and maybe, just maybe, the community that I was hoping to find, it would, I would be the one to start it. So, and thankfully, I kind of did that, because I would never imagine that a months later, after like, I think we started the community in May. No,
No,
yeah,
February.
maybe May. Yeah, February. That months later, I would talk to pretty much one of my childhood heroes in a way. So, I'll be forever grateful for not just you coming onto the podcast, but you making those videos. And I would also like to thank you for just generally being a something else. Maybe you wouldn't want to be reminded of this times, but my respect for you also hugely grew when you posted that video about the hard situation with YouTube, because some YouTubers are so desperate that they would try anything to stay on the platform. But you had the courage to be like, if this doesn't work out, I have other points. And it showed me that even if your dream comes to an end, that shouldn't make it, game over for you. So I was also like inspired hugely by that. And yeah, just generally you being the interactive person with the community. Like I think a couple of us actually have interacted with you in the past. Like Sam interacted with you in like a live stream, and me myself back on Twitter. When you were making these videos of top 10 worst cartoons for every country, I wanted you to make one for Arabian cartoons, so I posted you on.
To get there. Yeah, I so wanted to continue that series, but it had just started bombing, and I was like, I've even today I was thinking of like, should I try and put it in the patron polls and see if it get interest? But I just don't know if I can get away with it nowadays. Putting 2 weeks in that video, but I totally want to because I've missed that channel, the video series for years.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Thank you. And by the way, can I just say, Dreamcast, thank you for commenting about the sort of leaving YouTube thing, because the fact that I didn't really get a lot of feedback and I wasn't always sure if I handled that well. But it really means a lot to me because I wanted to leave with self-respect, and people don't always remember what you say, but they remember who you are. And I thought I was almost positive I was leaving the platform and going to be a plumber or electrician or something like that. But I wanted to leave with dignity and self-respect because that's what I tried to exude for those years. And the fact that you noted that and picked up on that, thank you so much, man. I don't know. I'm very flattered by that. Thank you.
Man, no, thank you. Like, genuinely, I genuinely think that the world needs more people like you. Like, genuinely.
I agree.
Oh, for sure.
Well, we've sure got a few of them in the Harvey Beaks community, don't we? I'm so glad you started this server. I'm going to gladly pop in.
Oh, fantastic.
I just think that you're a very well-spoken person, Strider. Like, constantly throughout this episode, you told us, like, you were worried if you're too tangential, but I always enjoyed, like, hearing your tangents. I just, the way, like, even back in the, like, days where I just think that the way you articulate your thoughts and the emphasis thing you do with your voice, different thoughts. I just think that's so cool. You're welcome.
It's funny, you look back on, I think we're all our own harshest critic, because I look back on my old videos and I'm like, I can't stand this. I can't watch it. I can't finish it because like you get, I don't know if you've got your channels yourself, I imagine I've heard some do, you kind of get your own harshest critic when you watch it. You're just like, anything from like more than a year or a couple of years ago, I start to go, I don't know.
Yeah, you evolved.
I used to have my own channel, but it was like 7 years ago, so I had stuff from a really long time to look back on, and I would just die inside every time I watched those videos.
Don't you let go of that. You leave that there. It's a history of who you are, or who you were.
That's true.
I used to make amino blogs that were pretty much just like ripping off what you say and putting them in the blog. So
Wow.
yeah, back when
that takes you back.
Yeah, this takes me back to. Also, thank you for making those videos on the spectrum. Before those videos, I knew nothing about it. So even to this day, you still teach me new things.
Oh, do you mean the autistic myths one? Oh, I'm so glad that helped someone, because that one took a bit of research and that sort of thing. But I hope I covered it with dignity and respect.
Yeah, I appreciate you making that video, because I recently shared it with my own community after a particular event that happened, which I don't want to get into, because I think the last thing anyone who's still watching wants to hear is more of that person I'm referring to. It should be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, but kind of before I finish, I didn't really get to finish my my story, because it kind of, I don't know, kind of got a bit erupted, but it's all good. But like after like I was like heavily thinking of Harvey, and like after like recovered from the stages of grief, I kind of on like the Saturday I just put a comment on best modern cartoons which Harvey appeared on, and I did not expect it to get a response because it's weird. And then when I saw that it had a response from you, I was just like, I froze for like a second. I couldn't believe it. Like, it actually blew me away that like it had happened. Like, I'll always be so thankful that you responded to that, because I was like already in a really good mood, and when I saw that, and just made me like even better. Like, I just really appreciate you took the time. I mean, I don't to respond. I mean, it may have been chance, but yeah, I just really appreciate it. Like, it's always really good when YouTubers respond to you.
It's my pleasure, Sam. Like, I always think whenever I would see it, I would always repeat to myself, they took the time to write to me. The least I can do is take, and I don't always stick to that, particularly when it's busy or something like that. But when I see a message like yours that really sticks out, and I'm just happen to be looking through the community feed, I'm just like, damn, I got to say something. So, no, thank you likewise for the great comment.
Yeah, and then I realized, oh, you're streaming the next day. So yeah, the next day I just as soon as I got like home and got a new live stream, I just donated and just talked about Harvey and like how it like impacted me like this quickly. Like, I'd gone from not thinking about Harvey for like 5 to 6 years to going through stages of grief with him, which is just completely unexpected.
Those memories are always there, and though, and the experiences we share with it, though, I think we keep it alive, and I respect that.
Yeah, and it's just really, and yeah, I'm so thankful. I didn't know this at the time, but yeah, I'm so thankful that you were able to continue on YouTube, and because it's like led this to this butterfly effect that, I mean, this time last year I could have never predicted any of this happening, like ever. Like, this is just completely. I don't know.
I think none of us did.
No.
No.
It was a dream, honestly. Like, maybe, like when I was saying, oh, maybe we can get some people, like maybe Phantom Strider, to interview on the podcast. I was lying. I was thinking, yeah, we'll never do that. But no, life has some other plans in mind.
Yeah, it's just
Apparently.
like we started this like community like back in, it was 9 months ago, and now we're in, like, this is just unbelievable, and like we've not got plans to start. I mean,
you'll be surprised how much these communities can grow. I remember when I started in the Phantom Strider community, like, it started quite small, but you may find Harvey Beaks, the community gets to at least 100 members, as people discover it, so yeah. Look forward to more, I say.
Yeah, because I found out 2 months ago, I kind of find out that like my life as a teenage robot like has this like YouTube channel with 36k subs and a Discord server like 3,000 members, which is just absolutely insane. Like, I could not believe how big it was, and
that show was fun. Yeah.
I mean, we haven't really done a lot of work on it in like the last bit, but we've got an iceberg video in the works. I made an iceberg 2 months back. Like, yeah,
link me when it's done. Like, send me a link. I'd be really curious because I have a lot of fun with iceberg vids.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get back to it like once I'm done with like university for the year. But I have made a I did make an iceberg a few months back, which, I mean, I've added a few more entries, but I'm not gonna update it until it's finalized, because yeah, as I said just before, it was a pain to make that iceberg image, particularly the last 2 tiers.
Oh, they can be long, can't they? Yeah,
totally. Yeah, it's like 91 entries on the
I know, and there's so many entries as well.
I think we're currently at like 99, I think, or 98.
Oh.
Yeah,
if we get to 100, that'd be huge.
Yeah, it's just like I've just been going. I've been like trying to find basically anything Harvey related. Like yeah, I've just spent like hours going through Greenblatt's Tumblr just to see what more info I can find, and like basically just searching it on like the most obscure sources. Like, yeah, it's just it's kind of insane, like how many entries there are. I think I posted this on like the iceberg chart sub, and like I think one of the people like said they never expected Harvey to have this many entries. And yeah, I'm pretty convinced that like nobody, like very few people outside me and like some other fans like know any of these entries. Like that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of insane like how obscure it is. And oh yeah, one more thing is like I remember like one of the other Harvey videos I saw, like the person Jordan Friends, like he mentioned that he remembers like caring about Harvey but not anything actually about it, like what characters are like, what's like how any episodes. Yeah, like I think that's kind of a bit of a shame to like that like not many people like know anything about Harvey other than like the basics, which I think is a little sad, and it's something we're hoping we can shift towards changing somehow. I mean, yeah, it's just like yeah,
Well,
it's
either
just
way,
really,
we like him. It's not
Yeah.
the size
Yeah.
of your audience that matters.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, just hoping to get at least some people like knowing more about who Harvey is, and like because there's like only like 35, 40 YouTube videos, although a few of them did come out in the last 2 months, which is
That's good.
appreciated. Yeah,
Mhm.
including one from the same country as me, which yeah, it's just
A Harvey resurgence,
We're-
maybe we'll see.
We're definitely making
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah.
It's funny how we're only like we're 5 people, so we should all be scattered around the world, but no, there's only 2 regions being represented here, which is just funny to me.
yes,
We've got Australia, Middle East, and USA, haven't we?
Yeah.
No, I'm New Zealand.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're
TJ's
Australia.
Australian.
Yeah, you're
Sam
right.
is New Zealand.
No,
yeah,
of
there's
course.
no Americans here.
That's why I've enjoyed
Anyways,
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I think I better head to bed now. But,
Oh yeah, I've got to go
yeah.
too.
Yes,
let's
it's really
finish
late.
recording this first.
Yeah.
Did you
thank
finish
guys
recording?
For everything.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's 23
Very good
here.
episode. I'll see you guys
Yeah,
around.
appreciate you taking the time, Strider.
Oh, my pleasure. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.
All right, see ya.